Welcome to the MGTOW Academy Show, your one-stop spot for MGTOW talk. Everyone, it's my honor to welcome you to episode 1 of season 3. By the time this podcast has been released to all platforms, it would have been at least 3 years since I uploaded my first video to YouTube, which was June 15th, 2017. And here I am after 100,000 total impressions, over 1,000 YouTube subscribers, and over 3,000 Twitter followers strong and counting, surrounded by amazing people. It's an honor and a blessing to be with you guys. And speaking of honor, I am also honored to be with a very special guest on the show to help me kick off season 3. I'm here with the legendary Mike Rosa of Anabolic Aliens. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. I'm glad to have you on. So, anyways, Mike, one of the themes for season 3 of the show is to expand on the concept of building that mind and body. And who could be a better expert at that than Mike Rosa? And of course, we will have listeners who are from the alien community. So, people who know Mike from before, listeners who have been with my show, and some people who don't know either of us. So, I'd like to first start off the show by sharing my story with Anabolic Aliens, giving my personal testimony as to why I recommend Anabolic Aliens so much, and then have Mike expand a tad bit on who he is, what he does, and then throughout the show, we will be covering all sorts of topics and then giving you, the listener, actionable steps to take because you are the end goal when it comes to creating this podcast. So get comfortable and stay tuned. We will also be incorporating fitness-related questions that my followers on Twitter have mentioned into the questions in our podcast today. So special thanks to Dirk V, Fallow Camigo, Drake69, Isaac MT89, and the Orthodox Caveman for asking their questions. Also, for the Alien family, I love you guys, by the way. Y'all are awesome. We'll be having a Q&A with Mike, so we can also get to know Mike on a more personal level. Yeah, he's done a Q&A before, but hey, why not do one again? So that will also include all the goofy, silly questions just for fun. And I have a feeling that this will be a great podcast. Don't you agree, Mike?
Hell yeah, I'm pumped.
All right, well, let's do it. So enough about that. Let me quickly give you guys my testimony of Anabolic Aliens and why I trust them more than any other fitness brand out there. So I've been working out with Anabolic Aliens, I think, just about as long as MGTOW Academy. So that started back in 2017. That was when I started MGTOW Academy. And then shortly after that, there was an event in school. Okay. It wasn't exactly an embarrassing event per se. It was more of a cringe event that I turned around into something positive. Okay. Long story short, there was like an arm wrestling contest between a teacher and one of the students in the class. And I went up there and offered to be a part of the arm wrestle. Okay. And it's not like I lost. That's not even the part. The part was that I didn't even get noticed. Like they straight up ignored me, and I was just like, okay. So that was kind of a cringe moment. And I was like, oh, look at myself. I don't even look like I'm ripped. Like, how can I stand a chance against those guys? So I went home, and out of cringe, I turned that cringe into strong energy. So out of that cringe, I looked up, at home bicep workouts and whatnot. And of course, I stumbled across Anabolic Aliens' legendary at-home 5-minute workouts, and I just kept doing it. I was like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm getting, pumped in like 5 minutes with a towel. I was doing your 5-minute at-home towel workout, and I was like doing that like almost every day, biceps, triceps, forearms, abs. Like I was doing it, just going at it. And after just a few weeks, I think I got pretty decent results. My veins were definitely popping out. So those were the first results. My biceps were growing a bit more. And then that was like, I think almost more than 2 years ago, somewhere around that. And compared to then, I've had tremendous growth on my body. I've had people ask me, hey, how much do you bench? Let me tell you guys a secret. I have never, ever benched in my life. I've never touched a bench press. And people are asking me what I have benched simply because of the work from Anabolic Aliens. So right now I use dumbbells, resistance bands, and of course calisthenics. And I've gotten amazing results. And that's the reason I preach so much about them, is because I've gotten amazing results from them. And I won't share something unless I know it's a truly tested and tried product. So that's basically my story with Anabolic Aliens. And of course, exercise is more than just physical, it's also mental. So throughout many challenges, since that time, I've overcome them. I've started, many successful things that's helped me grow, of course, MGTOW Academy. In my personal life, I have an aviation project that I work on. So there's also that. There's lots of things I've been doing. And Anabolic Aliens definitely is a key part of me growing up simply because of the tremendous mental and physical effect it has had on me. So that, my friends, is the reason why I speak so highly of them. And if you follow me on Twitter, you might notice that I frequently retweet their stuff and reply to it. And that's because I mean it. I'm not getting paid anything for this. In fact, I feel like I'm repaying Anabolic Aliens for all the work that they've done. So that's basically my story with them. And of course, Anabolic Aliens is really special because, well, honestly, it's just a great community. There's tons of great folks in the comment section who I love to interact with. That community sense, it's really beneficial and helpful, motivational. And then, of course, Mike himself, he's just a great guy as a role model. Honestly, other people see, superheroes like from movies and whatnot as their role model. Mike Rosa is my role model because that guy, he's just awesome. And I'm not saying that to kiss up to his ass. I mean that I've been watching that guy almost every single day for like 2 years now. And I mean it when I say that. So that's the reason I speak so highly of Anabolic Aliens. And I just love their workouts. It's insane. He also has like a no, BS approach to things. And whenever I see Mike struggling, with his workouts, I'm like, dang, this stuff is real. So I love seeing that stuff in his workouts. But enough about my personal experience. Mike, why don't you go ahead and catch everyone up to speed about who you are, what you do, and how we're going to help the listener get in shape and whatnot. Why don't you go ahead and tell them that?
Well, first off, I want to say I am so beyond thankful for all of your support, man. It really blows me away hearing all of those kind words, and I appreciate it more than you know. So thank you so much. And I'm pumped
Anytime.
I was able to help make a difference for you because that's exactly why I started all of this. I went my senior year of high school. I got into fitness for the first time. I did the Insanity workout program by Sean T. Me and my mom, well, literally every single day while I was at school, whether it was before school at 5 a.m. or at night at like 9 p.m., we always got the workout in
Mhm.
for the day. And I fell in love with exercise right then. And I was actually the captain of the baseball team at this point. I was going to college for baseball. And
Mhm.
it was actually a very interesting time because my love for sports turned more into the love for gym because it became more of a game of self improvement for me. And I was always never really I was never really a confident person growing up. So that kind of insecurity helped me fuel who I am today because it's helped me find a purpose, and that purpose was bettering who I was as a person mentally and physically, and that's exactly what I found through fitness. And when I fell in love with that feeling, I wanted to everyone else I could ever come in contact with experience that same feeling of feeling better about who you are as an actual person. And that goes so much further than just the physical result. And honestly, the physical result is what sparked everything for me mentally. It was the actual change I saw that made my whole mentality just go to a whole new level of I can do this, I can get to a whole new level, I can improve myself, and I can feel damn good about all the work I put in because I earned that path. And that's honestly what got me actually away from baseball and into powerlifting. Fell in love with lifting heavy weights, and then same time I fell in love with wanting other people to experience how to feel this feeling of self confidence through fitness and experience and help them get to their next level on their journeys. So that's when Anabolic Aliens started. We released the first video ever, July 2nd, 2014. I remember the first date because I was so excited. And it started just, we wanted to really help just share our progress in hopes that we could help other people get to their next level. And then it turned into I came up with that 5 minute intense series, and it's what really sparked all the people coming to Anabolic Aliens because I was like, what are the problems people are facing? And I was at gym for 3 hours a day when I was a senior in high school and training for powerlifting, and I realized not a lot of people have the time to do that. I had a hard time finding a gym partner because that was just unrealistic for people who didn't love fitness like I did. So I realized there's a niche that people need to get filled, and it's that they don't have the equipment, they don't have the time, they don't have the confidence to bring themselves to the gym. And I wanted to create a whole system that gave them this opportunity to experience real results in a way that worked best for their lifestyle. And that's kind of really how Anabolic Aliens started, and it's what every single day I'm motivated by the community that we've built. And it's what really just kind of defines what I want to be because I want to be an example of what everyone else can be for themselves.
Wow. That was a great answer. I have no comment. Let that answer speak for itself. And before I do move on, I just want to say it's still surreal. I'm not sure if I said this while we were on the recording, but it's so surreal to have Mike on my show because I'm literally in the same room where it all started. Like if you can see on camera right back there, that little crevice right there, Mike, that is where I started doing your workouts.
That's
So,
awesome.
and right behind me over there, that's where I, do your dumbbell workouts and everything. It's just so surreal to still have you here. But anyways, let's stop that. Keep that aside. Let's go ahead and get to the actual interview and get to what the listener wants to hear. So, Mike, I want to know from your personal experience, how has regular exercise improved your life mentally and physically? And can you provide some examples, if possible, and how that progression has changed throughout the years?
it gave me a sense of security. It gave me something to work toward for myself, and it gave me some kind of direction. When things didn't feel right, when everything in life was feeling stressful, it was like working out made everything lose its stress, made everything feel okay. It made me feel like I can do something to make a difference. And whether it was just getting one more rep, getting more weight for the day, exercise helped me push myself physically, which helped strengthen me mentally. And it helped me just center all of the negative energy that life can throw at you and turn it into positive energy.
I like that. That's like a weird form of meditation in its own form. You're just doing your own thing. You're focusing your mind on one thing. I like the way you put that into words. Great answer. All right, Mike. So going against the crowd, that's something that's easier said than done. And I'm sure you may have felt that way sometimes whenever you're doing your own thing with Anabolic Aliens. That's something that not many people do, starting a YouTube channel and making a living off that essentially. So, the concept of going against the crowd, how has that been in your experience? And what do you want to share with the listener about that?
I wanted to say you just have to go for it. One of the biggest things that can really just hold you back is not putting yourself out there because you're caring too much about what other people think. And the realism is quality is subjective. What you think may be exactly what you think today, but tomorrow your ideas can change. And people don't understand that just because your ideas change one day, that doesn't mean that what you were saying before isn't right, it isn't true. You have to stay true to what your values are, and if you just keep putting out content and stay true to what you actually believe, and then actually do things to support it and provide value to other people with the type of content you're going for, or whatever it is, whatever you need to do to put yourself into a state that is going to make you block out the negative energy and just focus on you. You just got to put yourself out there and go for it.
That's a great answer, Mike. And I'm glad you provided some perspective on that because one of the goals that I have with this show is to take people who listen to it and transform them into leaders. And often, whenever you're doing making your own decisions, you will have to sometimes go against the crowd. And that is often easier, said than done. But hearing it from someone like you and seeing your results, I'm sure that will be great value to the listener. So that was a great answer. All right, Mike, listen, if you were young again, and young can mean anything from being 3 years old, like a middle school student, or maybe someone who's just in their 20s, whatever you define young to be. What advice would you give to your youngest self?
Honestly, it goes back to what I just said. Stop caring about what other people think. In the beginning of Anabolic Aliens, I was very, very still self conscious on camera because I was so worried about what the people watching were going to think. And it restricted my ability to grow, and it restricted my ability to pass the messages on that I really believed in. And now that I just realize if I do what I believe in, I can make it easier for other people to relate to me. And I know I'm not able to relate to everyone. So I want to be able to stick true to my values. And I wish I was able to just stick to my guns back in the beginning because I feel like I'd be so much further. But it's something I learned throughout the process. But that'd be the biggest thing I say to my younger self.
That's a great answer, as always. Stay true to yourself. I like that. All right. So, Mike, this next question, it's kind of open ended. And if you're able to put a spin on this and make it, I don't know how you say this, beneficial to the listener, try to do that if possible. What is your biggest regret in life, if you have any?
Hmm. That my biggest regret in life. I mean, it's hard to say regret because I don't know if I'd necessarily say I regret many things because I've learned from everything that I've made a mistake. I've made many mistakes, but I wouldn't call them necessarily regrets. If I had to pick a regret, I used to get in trouble a lot when I was a younger kid, and I regret every second I made my parents worry about what I was doing and how I was handling my life, and I hated having my parents worry about me. So my biggest regret is causing my parents unneeded stress when I was growing up.
Wow. Okay. And I like, by the way, I did not expect for you to be, bring up that thing where you said you would learn something from every mistake. That was really good. I like the way you provided perspective on that. Great answer, Mike. All right. This next question is something I plan to cover in the future of the show. I'm going to be asking you about what your insecurities are and how you deal with them. Personally, for me, height is like my biggest insecurity. And as a side note, interestingly enough, I found on like some celebrity profile website, I found your name and it said that you were like 5'6", which is not true. I know you said you're 5'9" in the video. I'm
Yes.
just clearing the record up. That video was wrong. The website was wrong. Mike Rosa is 5'9", not 5'6". Get it right, people. Come on. But Mike, what are some of your insecurities and how do you deal with them? I want to know.
Yeah, one of my biggest I'll keep it real. One of my biggest insecurities is I have a receding hairline, so I actually am using like it's called Keeps, and it's like a foam that you rub into your hair, and you take a pill, and it kind of just helps you bring back your natural hairline when you can lose it from like when you work out a lot, you actually increase like your testosterone. It can cause your hair to actually stop growing in certain areas. So I got screwed, I guess, a little bit in that sense. So that is one of my biggest insecurities, definitely. And it's not, and it's like, it's whatever. It's just kind of how it is. But it's definitely something I like actively do every day. And I think it's something people should do for themselves if they also struggle with that, because you can do things about it. So make yourself happy. And other than that, it'd be like, I'm definitely very self-conscious on the scar in my stomach. That's kind of actually one of the things that got me into fitness. I have a scar on my stomach for when I was born, and I work nonstop on getting abs and just maintaining my physique so I can kind of make myself feel better about my stomach, but it still always bothers me. It's just one of those personal things.
Right. I can understand that. Well, Mike, I gotta say, when you brought up the hairline thing and the scar thing, that was, I mean, I really respect that, how you're able to just come up front and say that. And that really does show how, how confident you are in yourself to just come up and you're like, yeah, receding hairline, scar on my stomach, like I like how you're able to talk about that openly. And I hope that someday I can be like you in, terms of being able to talk like that about your insecurities. My biggest insecurity is my height. And that unfortunately is something you can't control. I don't know if you can tell by the camera, Mike, but I'm 5'7". I know, super tall, right? So it's one of my biggest insecurities. So I'm hoping to at some point in the future cover that more in depth. But this is just a touch on that, and I want people to know that despite looking great and whatnot, and having much success in life like you do, everyone still has their own demons to fight. Oftentimes, when I'm out in public, I'm like one day I was at the mall, right? I was walking and I was just, I don't know why, it just hit me. I realized like I was like shorter than I thought. And I was like, oh, this doesn't feel good. I want to go home and like crawl in my bed. I don't like this. So I just want people to realize that, yes, that you're going to have success in life, but no matter what, there's always going to be downsides to things. And sometimes, insecurities are going to be some of the worst problems you may ever face. And I want everyone to realize that it's okay to have them. Everyone has them, and everyone has different ways of combating them. So getting your perspective on how you deal with it was, I'm sure, really helpful to some people. So thank you for coming up front and talking about that. Okay. Well, Mike, something that I hear from listeners commonly is the struggle to build discipline. I'm sure you've heard of that many times. Not everyone can build discipline the same way, but I want them to get as much exposure as possible when it comes to building discipline. And that's partly why, you're here, because exercise is obviously an excellent way to build discipline. But, obviously, besides from exercise, Mike, what are some ways that the listener can build discipline? What are some actionable steps that they can take to build discipline?
I always say this, small things lead to big things. A lot of people will start trying to make things happen immediately, like it's an overnight process. And realistically, you're not going to be able to run a marathon without training, like you're without working up there. This progression goes into everything. So, for example, one of the reasons I started my 30-day workout series on YouTube was because I had all these intense 5-minute workouts, these intense 10-minute workouts, and all these different style workouts. But the question I always got was, how do I program these? How do I follow these? And I realized I have programs, I can schedule these in all different ways, but realistically, I want people to be able to establish habits and get themselves in the consistent way and get themselves in a consistent rhythm where we're working out all the time
Mhm.
together and we're still organizing it in a way that's going to see results while also not give you some leeway with your recovery times. So it's a simple process of you have to start somewhere where you can establish a consistent rhythm for yourself, because consistency is always going to come before quality. You can't establish your quality if you don't have any consistency. So discipline, I really am a huge advocate for. You have to get your consistency down before you do anything else, and then you work on your quality, and then you work on your quantity. So it's a 3-step process, and that's how I define discipline.
The three-step process. All right. Well, there we have it. Great answer, Mike. I like that. And real quickly, as a side step to that question, you're a very motivated person, obviously, when it comes to working out. And if you think that Mike is not motivated when it comes to working out, do me a favor, go to Google, type up Mike Rosa, go to images, and just see for yourself. Okay. But Mike, everyone's got their ups and down days. And for me, there's just like some things I love, but no matter what, there's just some days where I don't feel like it, being honest with you. And I'm sure there are days where you just, no matter what, even if it's working out and getting ripped and whatnot, you just don't feel like it. You don't feel like you're at your 100%. So for those specific days when you feel like you're down, is there any other advice you could offer to those people in that specific situation?
I always have to I always ask myself a similar question, and it comes down to how bad do you really want it? For example, if it was easy, I always say this, if it was easy, everyone would do it. You can't expect the process to be easy. And on those days where you're really not feeling like you're doing it, that's when you define your character and how bad you really want your goal. Because if your goal is truly an internal goal, if you really want that, then you're not going to find yourself skipping out even though you have no energy today. Take your pre-workout, go do your meditation, get yourself in a mindset that is going to be able to get you through whatever time you have. You may not have the best workout of your life, but putting yourself through the motions is a sure hell lot better than skipping out and making yourself lose the consistency. Like I said, consistency, then the quality. So that's what I'd say for there. Find yourself the motivation because you can do it. So stop making excuses for yourself.
That's right. No excuses. Remember that. And I also like how you just said, how badly do you want it? Because before we had, talk, this is actually our first time talking, but before we had talk, that's actually something I always ask myself, like, how badly do I want this? So it's really cool how we just have that same mentality. I find that amazing. And real quickly, when you talked about, what was it? If it was easy, not everyone would be doing it or something like that. I actually used that as a picture for my aviation project. We had like a presentation about motivation, and I like put up a picture with your quote, and your name was next to that. So you just reminded me of that. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
you're a great source, by the way, for motivation. Everyone, check out Mike Rosa. He's got great motivational stuff to check out. All right. So, anyways, moving on. That was a great response, by the way. Hopefully, people can learn something beneficial from that. All right. So, your mind and body, they're separate. I get that. But they're also united at the same time. So, like, if one suffers, the other one suffers, right? If one improves, the other one improves. So, I want everyone who's listening right now to just place high value on both their mind and body. It's not like you exercise 24/7 and pay no attention to your mental problems, or you don't pay attention to your body but focus completely on your mind. You have to have balance with both. And obviously, Mike, one of your favorite ways to maintain or improve your mental health is through exercise. But besides exercise, what are your favorite ways to just build your mind?
I like to learn, honestly. One of my favorite things is I like to just research specific topics that I'm interested in and then learn as much as I can about it. I'm kind of stubborn in this sense. When someone tries to tell me what to learn, I have no interest in learning it. But when it's something I'm actually interested in, I'll go into every single article I can find and educate myself on the topic. So I always really like expanding myself on topics and kind of exploring all new different types of ones. I just have to be the one who determines which topic that's going to be for some reason. But I also I love my what are they called? Aroma diffuser, the essential oils. That's something I have going on in my room constantly. And I actually swear I notice a difference when I don't have them running. So it may be a little more mental than physical or whatever, but I love having my essential oils going on. And then I also always make a point to do like 2 walks a day just to completely clear my head. I put my phone down. That's one of my new things in the last like 6 months, and it's been game changing because I'm on my phone, social medias all the time. So seeing that, just your phone all the time, that screen, gotta just get your eyes off it for a little bit. And then I force myself to read, and I hate reading. So I try to force myself to do things I don't like to do, and like read an actual book, meaning just like some kind of something that gets my head into something that's not just like knowledge, something to expand my creativity, just to kind of think outside the box. So I always make sure I do a little bit of that as well.
Wow, that was a good take. And I like how you also talked about just like trying something new or trying something to expand your mind. Like that's something I've recently been getting into as well. Like even though I don't want to go into maritime stuff, I got my boating license because you can probably do
Oh
that for
yeah.
free. And I'll show you how to do that if you were if you're interested. So I got that done. I'm looking into like learning about carpentry and plumbing and just general household stuff. So that's actually a similarity we have. How about that? So yeah, that's a great point that you made. And on the note of you, liking to do things that you're kind of uncomfortable with, which is probably connected to getting outside of your comfort zone, and I completely understand that. What's Have you ever specifically tried things like cold showers, the Wim Hof method, things like that? Have you ever tried that?
I haven't done the one half method, no, but I have done the I do cold showers like every day. I normally start my day off actually with a cold shower, and then I normally after a workout, I normally do the warm shower. I know it kind of wakes me up more so and gets the day going for me with a cold shower, and then I kind of just like relaxing out with a hot shower. But there's definitely a lot more benefits with cold showers. What is the other method? Can you explain that one?
Yeah, so the Wim Hof method, it's actually designed to make you more exposed. It's made to allow for you to tolerate cold stuff more. So Wim Hof, he's this guy. He like goes out like shirtless, just wearing pants, pretty much out into like the Arctic. There's like icebergs everywhere, and he just sits there meditating, and it's pretty cool. And then this is something I think you would actually enjoy. The Wim Hof method, from what I recall, because I don't do it too often, being honest, it's basically like wherever you're supposed to hyperventilate. So you literally like breathe in from your chest as much as you can, and then you exhale quickly. So you're basically hyperventilating for like I think 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then he says, "All right, exhale," and you exhale, and then you don't inhale. You exhale completely. You hold it there, and I've gone like a minute and a half, maybe even 2 minutes at one point without even breathing. So like your fingers tingle. It's like some weird physical science stuff that's honestly somewhat boring to me, but it feels amazing. It's kind of cool and it's fun, and I'm sure you like that. So that's basically got to do with just it's a form of meditation, building that mind, and of course that can connect to helping you with cold shower tolerance a lot more. So that's what that pretty much is. And there's an app out there, a
Cool.
bunch of free resources to check out. So I'll like send you some links if you need them, man.
Dope. Hell yeah. I always like learning new techniques.
Awesome. I'm sure you love it. All right, cool. And then, okay, so that's pretty cool. So, Mike, let's say that somebody is listening to this podcast right now and they're feeling super motivated. Like, oh boy, they're talking about cold showers and exercising. Oh, I'm so motivated, right? Everyone's got that face. So, let's say they're feeling super motivated to start exercising on a regular, and that's the word regular, consistent routine. So, Mike, how can they start exercising without any body equipment for free at home with Anabolic Aliens or maybe even extra price? So, what muscle groups would you recommend them to get started on? What are some mistakes to avoid, rules of thumb, and anything else you want to mention?
From the start, make sure you're training every single muscle group. I would not recommend any one muscle group, but make sure you're training completely symmetrically. You want to train every single muscle group, especially evenly in the beginning, so you're building symmetrically from the start. That's really important. And when people don't do that, that's when they develop asymmetries right from the beginning, and then they're going to have to fix them 2 years down the road. When they find out they have them, they probably don't even know during their training. And all of a sudden, their right arm is an inch bigger than their left. And those are things we want to avoid right from the start. So what you can do for free workouts is YouTube. I have literally hundreds of free workouts on my YouTube channel, and then my app Exerprise also can generate free workouts. It's whatever you have available to you, whatever equipment you have, or zero equipment at all. You can generate unlimited free workouts in Exerprise. And also on my YouTube channel, like I said, has a ton of options. And also when you're actually forming your kind of program, like I said, you just want to make sure you're training all of the main muscle groups. So think about that as your chest, your back, your shoulders, your triceps, your biceps. Then I would also incorporate like forearms, and then we'll go down to lower body. Oh, and also your abs, and then obliques, and then legs. And then whenever you're talking legs, I always separate them: the quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves. So that you literally want to make sure you're doing some form of exercise for every single one of those muscle groups. And you're going to want to make sure that you're spacing out those muscle groups so you don't train the same muscle group without resting at least 24 hours in between. And you want to make sure you're training smart and safe, and you also want to have some form of progression with your programming. So if you do 8 reps this week, next week try 10 reps. Always push yourself to get to the next level.
Mhm. Mike, real quickly, when I believe you also mentioned this in one of your just like sit down and talk videos about progressive overload and whatnot, stuff like that. You mentioned to write down stuff like, but we just like write down, how many sets or reps you did. So when it comes to doing the 5 minute workouts, do you mean count how many times you do reps and like pause the video, write it on a piece of paper? How would you exactly track that? Because I've tried that before, and it's a little bit challenging having to do that. So how exactly would we be able to track? With the 5 minute workout routines, because that stuff is like constant. Like there's not much time for writing that down. So
Mhm.
how can we work with that?
Yeah, that's actually a tough question because realistically, there's not really an easy answer for that. It's more of the progressional methods are getting more. If you're doing the body weight routines, the progressional methods are getting more weight. I mean, getting more reps, body weight, getting more reps, or limiting excess rest. So realistically, the only way you can truly determine that perfectly is if you have to log it down. So you would try your best to remember. As like I wouldn't log them mid workout because you'd be taking away from the workout, which is the problem. So at the end, you try to remember how many reps you got, which may not be possible. And if that's the case and you're really focusing on dialing in on the exact amount of reps you're getting, then I would do one straight minute, do a quick pause, write it down, and then go to the next one and keep it up that way, just so you can actually have a a number to actually look at. But realistically, if you're pushing, the point is, I always say for my intense workouts, and this is something that I feel like is so misunderstood, and it's that the reason there for all experience levels is you can always get to the next level for yourself. And that's why if you're pushing yourself 100% today and you get more reps, you're going to eventually need to take more excess rest because you're pushing yourself to get more reps. It's a never ending cycle of progression. So realistically, if you're pushing yourself as hard as you can on that day you're working out, you're getting as many reps as you can. It's high intensity. That way, you're going to progress no matter what, even if you're not necessarily able to keep track of specific numbers, because every single time you're doing that workout, you're pushing yourself at that 100%. So, in theory, you would be progressing over time one way or another as long as that 100% is actually true.
That's a very good point, Mike. I like that. And before I asked you that question, you also mentioned to make sure you're training symmetrically and whatnot. Yeah, definitely make sure you're doing that. Also, make sure whenever this is something I specifically had an issue with at first, I kind of had an imbalance between my bicep and my tricep. So I was focusing so much on my bicep. But when you think about it, the tricep is like literally two-thirds of your arm.
Hmm.
And when I was like walking in the hallways, I would notice my arm is just like, it looks like I naturally have like distal bicep tendonitis, which I have, I get that more often than I like, to be honest. But it like my arms are naturally bending up. So thankfully, I was able to fix that. But make sure you guys, like Mike said, to train, with everything balanced. And then another problem is my back, which is what I'm currently working on with your 30-day back program. See that? So
Yeah.
I'm doing a 30-day back program because like whenever I do like bicep workouts, like I think it's like the close grip hammer curl. Whenever the bicep, the dumbbells are right in front of you, I feel extra strain on my back. I'm like, oh, I haven't trained my back. I got to get to that next. So make sure, as Mike said, you train everything equally. And trust me from experience, you want to train everything equally. So that's a very good explanation, Mike. We appreciate that. Um, and just an FYI, guys, Mike's YouTube channel, his website, that will be linked in the description for you guys to check out. Also, remember that his app, Exerprise, it is a free download in the App and Play Store. That will also be linked down below for you guys to check out. And also, as a side note, that was so weird to say because I'm so used to hearing you say that. Like, it's a free download the App and Play Store. And I just said that. That is like such a surreal moment. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Moving on. I'm sure we have some people who are listening to this that are considering embarking on high risk, high reward endeavors. Maybe becoming an entrepreneur, going off the grid, becoming an expat, investing lots of money into a hobby, launching themselves in a space. I don't know, whatever. Just a big challenge that they're facing that they may not be too sure of themselves, or that seems like a very daunting task. So, Mike, you may know a thing about this subject. So, what advice would you like to offer to those people?
I'm a huge advocate for taking chances and also having security behind those chances. So what I mean is if you're really believing in what you're doing, then you're unstoppable. You have to truly though believe in your mission. Otherwise, the amount of time you have to put in to the actual reward that you want to see isn't going to be put in. You have to believe in your cause, you have to have passion behind your mission, and you have to have a fire to keep that burning along the ride because especially if it's an entrepreneur, if you're trying to build some kind of hobby into something that's making a lot of income, you need to put in a lot of time, and a lot of that time is going to be unpaid in the beginning. It's going to be absolutely chaotic, and you have to be able to actually invest yourself, not just your time. You actually invest yourself a lot. It's so hard to take your head off of what you believe in and what you're actually going for if you're like actually pushing as hard as you can. Like for me, trying to relax is very hard because all I can think about is how I'm going to get myself to that next level. And it's the same thing. If you actually care about what you're doing and believe in what you're trying to accomplish and how you're trying to get there and what your stake is in it, then go for it and just make sure you're able to survive along the way. You don't have to live all royalty. I don't care what I have it all right now. I barely take any money myself because I put it back all into building this business because it's what I believe in. So it's really how much do you believe in yourself?
Wow, that's a good answer, Mike. I like that. And I'm sure, of course, as always, people will find that helpful. All right. And going to build on with the stuff of chasing your dreams and whatnot, you're evidently going to have some people who are against your dreams, naysayers, doubters of your dreams. And I personally want to talk about this in the future because I've always wanted to be a commercial pilot. And from my background, I'm from Bangladesh. And you might hear the stereotype that, people from my country, their parents want them to be, doctors, lawyers, engineers, whatever. that stereotype, it's kind of true. Let's be honest. So my parents never, unfortunately, wanted me to be a pilot. But and there have been a lot of times where before I kind of was more open about what I wanted to do, and when I started to become more open about it, I would like often cry myself to sleep because I just didn't know what to do. I felt so lost because like how would you feel if your own parents didn't believe in you? I mean, I guess we're kind of working through that stuff now. I don't know, but either way, I know a thing or two about what it feels like to not feel believed in. So whenever I'm on Twitter, I always like to tell people, hey, remember I believe in you guys, and I mean that because I know what it feels like from experience to not be believed in, and I want to make sure that everyone listening to this and everyone in our communities in Anabolic Aliens and on MGTOW Academy knows that if someone believes in them, it's Mike Rosa and it's MGTOW Academy because we want to support you guys in whatever you're doing. So, anyways, just going back to the question, how would you deal with naysayers and doubters of your dreams, Mike? What would you say to that?
Cut them out. Negativity, honestly, you gotta throw it right to the side. And you have no room for negativity when everything you're trying to do is positivity for your life and to make yourself better. So any negativity is just going to hinder your own performance. And it's tough to say that with when you're, especially when you're talking about parental figures. But like the realism is, if you really want something and it's your dreams, it's your life. And if you're going to take the chance on your life, then you have to understand that your decisions have consequences and you have to be able to deal with those decisions. But if you want to go chase your dreams, that's your decision to make, and you got to go for it if you really believe in it.
Absolutely. And building on to chasing your dreams, as Mike have said, I'll tell you this, guys. From my experience, there have been no regrets. Let me just wind back to the idea of my parents wanting me to, go into medical school and whatnot. I'm thinking back to what I would have been like if I were to have gone down that path. And dude, I am so glad I did not go down that path. It's no, it's insane. Like a lot of people are like, dude, you're so cool for doing this, this, and that. Because I mean, honestly, it was a lot of work to get that thing off the ground. Aviation pun intended, off the ground, haha. But like still there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize. Like there's been a lot of arguments and there's been a lot of personal battles, so to speak, when it comes to getting that stuff done. And there are going to be times when you're going to doubt yourself. I've doubted myself many times. Like, oh, I should have gone through that program. I should have listened to my parents. I should have chosen safety and security. But thinking about it now, I have absolutely no regrets. And like I applied Anabolic Aliens' mentality, I guess, to what I was doing, and just to trust yourself, go after it, have no limits, all that cool stuff, and
Hell
it
yeah.
worked out in the end. So for anybody is listening to this right now, and you feel like you have no one supporting you, know that number one, MGTOW Academy and Mike Rosa supports you. And number two, you can do it. And if you think you should do it, you should do it. Okay. So, anyways, for those who always saw exercise as something that they wanted to do, but they always saw it as like something that was not meant for them, as in it's a different world. Like, oh, that's those are people who are like fitness jocks. They go to the gym, they spend their lives there. That's not meant for me. Mike, how would you advise someone like that to get started with exercising? Because to them, it's extra challenging, I would imagine, given that they see it to be something that's not meant for them. So, what would you tell those people?
Well, that's exactly why I created the intense workouts. I wanted to create systems that work for people right at home, whatever equipment they have, that they can do quick on their own. And it was really just to get them to understand that, like, listen, all you need is 5 minutes to actually feel something work, and then you fall in love with the feeling of bettering how you're actually doing the exercises. Then you want more, and then you push yourself. Now it's 10 minutes, and then you're up to 15, and before you know it, you're already at the gym. You didn't even think you'd ever join a gym before. So I think it's, again, back to small things lead to big things. So if you can start yourself off with some kind of method that you don't hate, and maybe you think you're going to actually hate everything, but I guarantee you there's some form of exercise that you can find, that you can do somewhere, that you won't hate. And then when you find something that you're able to build off of, and then you establish your consistency, you're going to notice a whole different world when you then start working on that quality.
Awesome. That's great advice. And once again, that is some of the, questions I've kind of been getting, or some of the answers I've been getting when I ask people what they struggle with, with fitness. And I kind of got that vibe off of them, like the way they were describing it. I felt like they saw it in that perspective. So I'm glad that you were able to answer that question, Mike. I'm sure that those people will find that helpful. All right. So now moving on, your new poem based podcast, I think it's called No Limits, if I understand correctly. That's pretty damn good, by the way, if I do say so myself. It's a really great podcast. Y'all should check it out. I'll link that down below. But, anyways, that is an excellent way to keep motivation up. And exercise is, of course, also a mental process. So, other than using your awesome motivational podcast, Mike, how would you recommend for someone to remain motivated through exercise? And this isn't just motivation, like one day you're motivated, one day you're not, like sporadically, because motivation, it comes and goes. So, what can we do to try to keep that motivation as long as possible and keep those people pushing through it no matter what? What would you say to those people, Mike?
Set goals. Set realistic goals that you actually want and then see them out. The little steps of progression, you have to give yourself some kind of reward. Realistically, you need to keep yourself motivated in the process. And on those days that you feel absolutely no motivation, that's when you look in the mirror and see how far you've come from the beginning and you're like, hell yeah, I'm going to keep on going. And that's what pushes through that day, and then the next day you're ready to go again. It's just filling in the gaps of those days you feel mentally out of it with all the motivation that's been fueling your process from the beginning. That's why I always say remember why you started, and also set a goal for where you're trying to go. You need to have some form of destination. Otherwise, you don't really know what direction to take. So set a goal for yourself and then work toward that goal. And that's the whole point of exercise as well. With that progressional element, with something you're chasing toward, it'll help you get there not just faster, but it'll help you get there happier.
Wow, that's a great response, Mike. And on the note of setting goals, real quickly, don't just set goals and be like, oh, I'll wake up tomorrow, maybe do dynamic stretching. And by the way, guys, do dynamic and static stretching. You should do that. Be proactive. But I'll do stretches. I'll do this. Be specific with your goals. Don't just set goals. Set SMART goals. You might have heard the acronym SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time specific, something like that. Make sure those goals are specific, they're realistic, like Mike said, and you can measure those. So that way it's easier to remain motivated. Don't just set a goal that seems too daunting or something that you can't measure. Make sure that goal is realistic, but also something that's going to help you and not demotivate you. So, Mike, that was an excellent point. I like how you mentioned setting goals. That was great. Okay, Mike, I'm going to ask you this question. Did you ever have an addiction or something like an addiction? If you did have one, how did you conquer it? And what advice would you offer to somebody who is addicted to something or they're having trouble dropping something? What would you say to them?
I never had any addiction. I'd say, I mean, I definitely addicted to exercise, but I know that's not what you mean. Um, like in college, I definitely drank way too much, which was contradicting to my fitness goals. I was kind of a party animal with my boys, and we enjoyed college very much. But
Yeah,
it,
UNH
it
represent.
exactly, but it definitely restricted where I wanted to go with fitness and also business wise. And when I graduated college, I came to the point of, hey, I can keep going to the club every weekend with my friends and not really push myself forward to actually chase my dreams, or I can start prioritizing my own ambitions and something more valuable to my life versus just blacking out one Friday night with the boys and actually put my ambitions to work. And that's what honestly changed my life. I actually don't drink much these days, and it's not just because I don't like drinking. I'll still go out and have fun with my friends. I just am so focused on what I want to accomplish that I don't even really think about partying anymore. I just want it so bad.
Wow. That's a really great answer, Mike. I appreciate you sharing that perspective. That's really great. Personally, for me, in terms of addiction, the reason I asked that was because growing up, people don't talk about it much because it's like a taboo subject and whatnot. But I'm hoping that I can at least share my perspective and get the conversation going, do my part. I have like a pornography addiction, and I think I'm still fighting it. Being honest with you, because it's very difficult to freaking fight off. Like if you have a cigarette addiction, go take your cigarettes, put them under the kitchen sink. You can't do anything. If you have alcohol, throw it out the window, dump it in the grass, you're good. But if you have a porn addiction, oh, let's be honest, you can't do much with it. You just gotta, kind of toughen it out. All right, that's just how it is. So that's something I always faced, and I'm sure that many other guys out there have something similar. So I'm hoping that I could, take my story with that at some point in the future and make it beneficial for the listener. Or like Mike said, with his alcohol, not addiction, but he clearly wanted to cut back on that. Cutting back on that and seeing how beneficial it was. I'm hoping that that can provide some value. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit in our podcast today. So great response, Mike. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Mike, what is your worst bad habit? So like, I don't know what that might be. Like, I don't know, social media, you surf on your phone too much. What's your worst bad habit and how are you doing in terms of progressing against that habit? And what can you share with us?
My worst bad habit, I definitely actually would say, is in judging people. And what I mean is I'm a I give people too many chances, and I've been getting screwed over multiple times in the past, meaning I want to please everyone who comes into like my life, into my like business realm. I'm talking business sense, and I mean what I'm trying to say is basically I haven't been the best judge of character because I've seen people I want to see them in the best light, and then I've gotten kind of screwed over without having a better judge of character. So I guess what I'm trying to do is be more cautious in how I'm starting people working with me, how I'm starting doing things with companies, how I'm just being very secure before I make decisions, because I'd say, I guess, kind of goes into that. A bad habit is I'm impulsive. So I have to make sure I'm kind of just calming myself down. And I'm not going to blame anything, but I am a very anxious person, which definitely contributes. And one of the things I've been trying to do is reduce my anxiety, and it's been something I've really been actively working on in the last year, and it's been really helping me kind of just see things more clear, and then look at people for more than just what I want to see them as, and kind of feel people out versus just hope for the best.
That's a great response, Mike. So for me, bad habits, the reason I wanted to ask that once again was because everyone has bad habits, and I don't want people to feel guilty for having, bad habits like, oh, I eat sugar too much, because that's my thing. Consuming too much sugar, especially at nighttime, that's my bad habit, all right? So everyone's got their bad habit. And remember, guys, that we're not going to be perfect. Mike's not perfect, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, but we can still do our best with everything. So trying to identify those negative habits can greatly improve your life, because you can actively work against that, like Mike has been doing, like, working against his anxiety. So Mike, on the note of anxiety, real quickly, I believe I may have not asked this a while ago. I just want to make sure. Have you ever like tried out meditation? Like, what was your experience with that type of stuff, with meditation?
I mean, I don't really do like a real form of meditation. I more just do my active stretching and then just do mindful breathing exercises, then go on my walks. That's more of my form of meditation. I would love to learn more about of the stuff you were talking about earlier and kind of get more actually into it. But I just need to find ways to clear my head, and that's really what helps me, just kind of whatever I can do to get myself out of my head, because that's the crazy place. So,
Okay, I can understand that. Yeah. So with meditation, Mike, I'm not sure how much experience you have with this. And of course, for the listener who might be curious about it, I'll share my experience with it real briefly. Meditation, it's simply the process of observing your mind. I mean, like I do meditation and my mind's running for the majority of the time, and that's fine. The whole concept with it is that you want to catch yourself whenever you're slipping. So for me, if my thoughts, like my mind runs off when I'm supposed to be doing, reading a book or doing work, I notice I'm catching myself more often, like, MGTOW Academy, you're going off topic. So for you, if you suffer from anxiety, you might notice yourself getting anxious during meditation, if that does happen. And then during social situations, you'll catch yourself more easily, getting anxiety. You'll be more mindful, more observant of yourself. So
mhm.
that's the whole process with it. So even if you're not good at it, don't do it frequently. I don't do it all the time, but I still recommend you try it every now and then, just to observe yourself, because you will learn a lot just from simply sitting still, breathing, being mindful. So I recommend you guys give that a shot. But Mike, that was a great response. Okay. So, Mike, distractions, they're everywhere in our society. Okay. And if you want us to seek, towards whatever you're working towards, for you, anabolic aliens and whatnot, whatever it may be, you have to have almost tunnel vision like focus on what you're working towards. So, Mike, what are some distractions that mess with you specifically? How do you counter those distractions? And what are some actionable steps you could give to the listener as to how to counter those distractions?
One of my biggest distractions is people constantly coming into the picture and getting your mind off what you're focusing on, whether it's a phone call, whether it's your friend asking you to hang out, whether it's whatever's going on, basically, whenever it just interrupts your thought process and gets your head out of what you're doing, that is a huge distraction. And what I do to actually combat that is I lock myself in my room, or I go to a coffee shop, put my headphones, because I actually like to have background sound. I need like a TV, I need music, I need something in the background, but I can't be having people interrupt me. That's what completely screws me up. So when I have a day of filming, if I'm doing work before and then I have to go film, it is so hard to get back to doing work. So that's why I have to kind of prioritize myself to kind of just sit through a working process and kind of schedule in a specific time frame where I know I can grind. I don't have phone calls, I don't have anything scheduled. This is work time. So I kind of have to train myself to focus, and I have to train myself to focus on the times that I actually schedule for that focus.
That's a great response. And with us being in quarantine, if you don't have a schedule, you will likely be forced to start a schedule if you want your life to have, some resemblance of normalcy, as if that ever exists anymore. But hey, anyways, that's a great response in regards to having, set time, like, hey, this is the time to work. I like how you put that into words, and I think I found it helpful. And of course, I'm sure the listener will also find that helpful. Great answer, Mike. Okay, so Mike, this is kind of an open-ended and personal question. What was the worst day of your life, and how specifically did you bounce back from that worst day?
The worst day of my life.
Deep
Hmm.
question, huh?
Yeah. The worst day of my life. That's tough. I'd probably say the worst day of my life was when my first family member that really meant a lot to me died. And I didn't really know how to deal with it. It was the first time anything like that happened in my life. And I I'm a definitely very sensitive person, so I'm very, very passionate with my family. Family's everything to me. Very hard to kind of think about anything else when you see your parents crying and people you love crying, and it's very hard to look at things normally in those situations. So what I did was I kind of honestly just went to the gym. I did all the things that I know help me find myself, find who I am, and then I know I'd find myself in the rough and fight my way through. So kind of just got to distract yourself mentally during the times of the rough and push through, because you will get through if you just keep finishing strong.
Wow. Well, I like that response, Mike, and it's very humbling. I'm sorry to hear about your loss, but yeah, I'm sure you're able to handle it better now as time has passed. Time and acceptance is what heals. So I'm hoping that you've recovered from that, obviously, and you're doing much better. So I'm glad to hear about that. Personally, for me, I haven't thankfully had any deaths recently, but it was a close call. My grandma had like freaking two heart attacks in like since like February and March. So everyone's like life has been on the decline since like March because that's when quarantine started. For me, it's been on the decline ever since like late February. So I'm like, aha, I'm really to the party. So that's kind of that's what it's been like for me. But I legit thought that she was gonna die, and it scared the hell out of me because like
Mhm.
I'm not prepared for that. And like you, Mike, I'm a very emotional person. Like unfortunately, emotional guys aren't portrayed as they should be. Guys aren't exactly who show their emotion aren't exactly praised. Like in my family, it's just kind of sad seeing how whenever I'm crying over things, like I had a mental breakdown because of social isolation. I'm a very extroverted person, and I'm crying my eyes out. Like I just can't handle the mental stress of being away from my friends. They mean the world to me. Just like your family means the world to you. My friends are not friends. They're family. For me, there is no such thing as friends. They're either my family or not, because they're that close to me. We
Mhm.
have connections that are that close. So it was very difficult for me. And, being open about your emotions, I highly respect that. And like you said, finding something to stick to and just kind of stick through the mental toughness. I like the way you worded that. So we're all going through different things right now. We may have someone listening to this who's having maybe their worst day of their life, and this may be the thing they needed to hear. So, Mike, I'm glad that you were able to provide that perspective. We definitely appreciate that. So, all right, Mike, can you name the most influential person in your life and why that person is the most influential person to you?
Definitely my dad. And I mean, I wish I could say my dad and my mom at the same time, but I'll say my dad because he just does everything he can to better the family. Everything he does is to support other people over himself, and meaning my sister, my mom, and me. And it just is something I've seen from day one, and something I want to do for my kids. I want to do for my family, and I want to be able to give back to my parents for all of the support they've given me. So that's definitely the most influential person I have in my life, because from the very start of everything I want to do, it's to make them proud.
Wow, that's really cool, Mike. Also, from what I've understood before, your dad was like a high school coach or whatever. I saw you on the Pentelli's podcast with Nick Drosso, so I was paying attention. I did my homework. Your dad was a high school coach or something. Y'all were talking about how they can't, like the suicides, those exercises they make student athletes do. They can't do that anymore. I remember that specifically. So your dad was a high school coach, uh, and I remember in that video specifically, you mentioned that early in your life you hung out with the wrong crowd. We'll touch on that later. But you mentioned that you wanted to be a criminal defense lawyer to help people, and then you got into fitness when you did the Insanity program with your mother. So, do you think your dad had any effect being a high school coach in terms of getting into fitness?
So my dad wasn't the actual high school coach. He was the coach of my growing up teams, like the town teams, and then also the summer team, the leagues that we were doing, and like that the what are they called, like AAU teams. So my dad was
Oh,
the
okay,
coach
yeah,
of those, yeah, and
yeah, okay.
he always motivated me to in the sport realm. He was never a lifter himself. I don't actually think he doesn't go to the gym once to this day. So it's actually pretty funny. I've kind of taken a whole different role in like the sports industry, I guess, into like the more like gym sense, where my dad was always on. My dad was the captain of the baseball and soccer team at Holy Cross.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm glad to hear that, Mike, that you have someone like your dad that you can look up to. I'm glad to hear that, man. All right. Well, Mike, this isn't also just an open-ended question, and this is your platform, dude. This is where you can talk. If there's, do you have like anything that's like, no one seems to talk about? I guess it could be anything. I don't care if it's political, non-political, just like the most random thing in the freaking world. This is your platform, dude. So, is there anything that you want to talk about that no one seems to talk about, but you find it like, strange and specific, and you just want to talk about it? Do you have anything you want to say?
Man, I freaking love talking about aliens, dude. I think we're about. I'm serious though.
Aliens.
I'm telling you, something crazy is going to
Okay.
happen in the next like 100 years, and we're just going to expand with some new kind of tech. It's going to reach a new kind of planet, and then we're all of a sudden going to be chilling with the aliens. They're
Oh,
all.
that is so cool, dude. Did you see that UFO video that the Navy unclassified, declassified? I think it was like a few weeks ago. Did you see that?
Yeah, I've been following. They released that like a year ago, and they released that to just lower the tension about COVID. They like the timing
Mhm.
was so crazy, but that picture and all of those cases have been going on for years, and the government just keeps it under wraps. I'm into that
Do
stuff.
you think Okay, Mike, here's a really quick theory that I have about aliens since we're talking about it. Do you think they come from the ocean? Because the way that I see it is that the majority of our oceans are unexplored and a lot of UFO sightings happen over the ocean. So that's my theory behind that. Do you think they come from the ocean, or where do you think they come from?
I think they come from the ocean. I think they come from a whole nother ocean, a whole nother planet. I think they're literally everywhere, man.
Okay.
I mean, what we don't know. I mean, everyone has to see
Mhm.
things to believe things, but the realism is we're never going to see everything. So just depends on what you think's out there. And eventually, we know for a fact there's definitely other forms of life out there, and we're finding new things all the time as ourselves. We are not. There's no way we are so stubborn and to think that we know everything when the universe is so massive. You know.
Yo, that's so cool. I can see an alien right now. Wait, do I? Oh, wait, no, that's just Mike Rosa. Never mind. I'm sorry. It's
Oh,
Mike
right
Rosa.
here.
Never mind. Yeah, anabolic aliens, yo. So is that like how you got the name? Is that how anabolic aliens got called anabolic aliens? Is that what the name came from?
More so, it's just like something to be different. We didn't want to just be another fitness channel. We wanted to have fun with it and really just enjoy. Like I took the spiel as like gains out of this world. That's kind of really what I turned it into to keep it fun. But in the beginning, it was just like a play on words actually with steroids, because everyone thinks like anabolic means steroids, but anabolic actually means grow to build. So we want to do like anabolic aliens, like I'm an alien to steroids. I don't take steroids, as a little play on words. And then also it was just like again to have a name that stood out that wasn't just your normal fitness channel. But then it's really turned into the whole community vibe and then gains out of this world.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm sorry. I just find it so. I'm not trying to be mean, but I just find it funny that like out of all the things you chose aliens and your name is anabolic aliens. That's so cool, dude. I love that. That is so freaking awesome. I'm sure the people from the anabolic aliens family is gonna love that. That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be so cool. Okay, Mike, growing up as a kid, did you ever expect to be an entrepreneur with anabolic feelings? Because I remember, as I said before, you unfortunately hung out with the wrong crowd because you lack self confidence and all that sort of stuff, and you wanted to help people who didn't have anyone else helping them, and you wanted to become a criminal defense lawyer, and all that sort of stuff. At that point in time, could you even envision yourself becoming an entrepreneur in general or doing something related to fitness? What do you think about that?
I had no idea at that point, honestly. And the reason I didn't know was because everything changed when I did the insanity program with my mom. That is literally what changed everything in my entire life. I fell in love with fitness, and that's when I knew I needed to do something in this industry. And I fell in love with that time after I already decided what I was going to go to college for, and that was the lawyer thing. And then realistically, it was like, what exactly can you do with fitness? And then my parents made me go to college because of a backup plan, but I wanted to pursue my own thing. And I was always the kid who hated to be in the classroom and had to do my own thing anyway. So I was like, eventually it just kind of came as a no brainer. It's like, you know what? I'm going to turn this passion into a business.
Wow, that's a really great response. And Mike, the reason I asked that was because you got to keep in mind that things are dynamic. You know, your ideas will never be the same, and you have to be realistic. Because, like, I can go on this podcast and I say, "Yeah, I'm going to be, this in the future and do that and whatnot." Everyone's got a plan, but things are going to change. Like when I started the aviation project, dude, I was hoping to do so many things. I was hoping to do drone instruction, work with like just team building activities, but we went virtual. Everything was flipped upside down. So it's very important to show that things can change in just a few weeks or months. And for you, that may have been, maybe one workout, which was the Insanity program, because I believe you said you fell in love with it like the first time you did it. So that just goes to show that, your ideas are always changing. You as a person, you're always changing. And it's important to recognize and to respect yourself as a person as you evolve and grow. So, Mike, that was an excellent response. Okay. Well, Mike, there are people who are leaders, they're followers in life, right? You got those different groups of people. That's the way I see it. And as I've stated earlier, the goal with the show, the MGTOW Academy show, is to allow for men to free themselves from whatever may endanger them, enslave them, whatever, and get them to become independent leaders in their area of expertise. So for me, my areas of expertise are aviation, men specific issues. That's something I felt passionate about because I always felt like mental health and the male suicide epidemic was something no one ever talked about, but I wanted to help those guys out. So that's why I'm kind of here. So that's my area of, passion, expertise, and whatnot. For you, it's exercise, teaching fitness, helping people in general to achieve their goals. So regardless of that field that you specialize in, no matter where you go, there's always going to be these skills that are transferable and that are going to be beneficial and important. So, Mike, based off of your experience, what are those skills that people can work on, and what are some ways that you believe people could build up those skills?
So can you kind of clarify that question? So basically, how would those skills be? What exactly are you asking?
Yeah, I'm sorry for ramble on too much. That's one of my problems. What I was
No.
asking was, what I was asking was all sorts of leaders and whatnot. No matter what your field is in, be it aviation, be it fitness, there's going to be skills that every single leader should encompass and every single leader should have, no
Mm,
matter what. In your opinion, what are those skills? Why are those skills, something everyone should have? And how can people build on those skills?
got you, got you. Yeah, so definitely one of the main things that you have to have is you have to have the ability to handle criticism, and you have to be able to handle negativity and turn it into positivity. You have to be able to be the one to actually guide the way and be able to take the punches that other people aren't able to take because you're the one who is leading the way. So at the end of the day, you have to think about it as to yourself as like, I like saying it in the sense of like a business perspective with the boss. When the boss has employees and something goes wrong, at the end of the day, it's the boss's responsibility. It's the boss's fault. No matter what employee messes up, at the end of the day, it's the boss's responsibility to make sure that person is on top of the job. So that's the same type of process. That's the same type of process when it goes into being like a leader and how you have to actually lead. You have to be able to handle the tough situations. You have to be able to adapt and, like you said, evolve and grow.
Wow. All right. That's a great answer, Mike. I like that. All right, Mike. So the next question that I'm going to ask you, it's kind of based on ego. So, like, everyone has an ego, and I think it's in our best interest to put the ego aside and approach everything as objectively as possible. And Mike, being honest, I have I don't know. I've like never seen you have an ego before. I'm just being honest. I've never seen you act like that, and that's part of why I kind of respect you so much. Is simply because of the way you act on and off camera. So, Mike, when it comes to dealing with an ego, can you describe a situation where you let your ego get the best of you, and how you've learned over the years to push that ego aside and not let it get the best of you?
I think ego is something that is often misunderstood for confidence as well. There's a difference, in my opinion, between an ego and confidence. And when you're able to actually determine that difference, you are able to be very confident and not feel like you have an ego. And that's kind of the how I've been able to do things in the last couple of years. I've learned how to love myself and be confident in what I'm doing, and that confidence has helped me eliminate ego. I don't need an ego. I believe in myself. I believe in what I'm saying. I don't speak bullshit. I mean what I'm trying to say, and I have a reason why I'm saying it, and I want to provide value and actually help people. So,
Wow.
though?
Yeah, dude, I got you. That's a great way to put it. I like that. Yeah. Thankfully, I'm not trying to. I know this sounds like an egotistic thing to say, but I don't have an ego. And as ironic as that may sound, I don't have much of it. Like it exists, but I try to push it down. And I like the way you put it as to building confidence so that you don't even need an ego. There is no need for an ego if you have confidence. Great perspective, Mike. I love it. All right, Mike. So, what was the most mean, demotivating thing someone did or say to you, and how did you handle it? And what advice would you offer to someone who would have to unfortunately deal with that type of stuff constantly?
Hmm. So, the hardest thing about the entire beginning of Anabolic Aliens and why I was very still self-conscious on camera the first couple of years of the channel, of the business. If you literally watch a video today and compare it to even an intense 5-minute workout from a few years ago, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And the reason was I had a partner who was very condescending, and I was not really ever feeling good about myself when I was doing like content and stuff. And it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I believe in this. I want this to be something. If there's not going to be a way to get to the next level and pursue like an actual passion and actually have confidence behind what we're doing, then this time to go separate ways. And then I eventually that negativity got cut out, and then my life honestly changed, and everything's been game changing since.
Right. And just to clarify, when you're talking about, the condescending stuff, you're talking about, Eric Q, of course, correct?
Yes.
Just to make sure. Okay, yeah. So we're going to touch on that later, but for everyone who isn't familiar with Anabolic Aliens, in the older videos, Mike had a partner named Eric Q. They met together on the baseball team. They went to the same gym. They lifted together, and they kind of got into lifting at the same time. So that's how Anabolic Aliens came to be. And we'll touch on that later. But just so everyone knows, what Mike's talking about, he's talking about his partner Eric. And from those of you from the alien community, we will talk about that stuff a bit later. So stay tuned. It's a long podcast, but hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. So, anyways, Mike, you're by the way, I just want to applaud you. You're doing a great job in responding to these questions. I mean, I knew you were going to be good when you were like, talking and whatnot. I remember you made a video. You said, "I'm not a person who likes to sit down and talk," but honestly, man, I'm kind of impressed. I mean, you're doing pretty good. I just want
Thanks,
to say
man.
that you really are.
I rambled though.
So do I. But hey, man, you're doing a kick ass job considering that your main thing is fitness, and here you are coming onto a podcast answering all these questions like a champ. I mean, you're doing a great job. I'm just saying you are. I'm not kissing your ass, even though I mean, like you're doing a great job. Really, you
Appreciate
are.
it, bro.
All right, Mike. Yeah. Anyway, so Mike, early in life, you said that you've gone in a good amount of trouble with people. I've probably mentioned that like 3 times already. So you said that because you lacked confidence, you hung out with the wrong crowd, all that sort of stuff. Since you've hung out with the wrong crowd in the past, what are some red flags to look out for, like when meeting new people? And what are some red flags you want to mention specifically to our audience that they can avoid?
I'm such a huge advocate for cutting out negativity these days. Any negative vibe someone brings to you, cut it out. and it's kind of a black and white statement because realistically, you're just not going to vibe with everyone. And there's the people that you may not vibe with, but you're still like friendly with or whatever. But there's a huge difference between if someone's making you question who you are, question your decisions, question your own happiness, there's no reason they should even be in your life. So literally, whether that's they're just they're insulting you, and it's maybe they don't find it insulting you say something, yet they still always are putting you down. That is something you're like, okay, I don't need you in my life. You're a cancer to my life, and it's the same thing with that's yeah that's I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay. Well, that was a good response, Mike. I like that. All right.
Well, yeah, I lost my train of thought a little bit.
It's okay. I understand. We all have our different ways of processing information, and I'm sure people will still find it helpful. So thank you for responding to that. Okay, Mike. Something that I used to think before watching one of your videos where you like kind of sat down. It was like a 45-minute video, I believe, where you explained how you built up anabolic aliens, which is very helpful, by the way. Those videos you make, like static dynamic stretching, sitting down and talking and whatnot, they don't get many views, but honestly, I think those are some of the most valuable videos you can ever make because, when it comes to fitness, people don't expect the academic part of sitting down and understanding things from a science point of view or just sitting down and like talking about things. So, by the way, I commend you for making those videos. They're awesome and I love them. So keep them coming. But in one of those videos, you mentioned about having balance. And the way you put it, it resonated with me, man. All right. So like what I used to think in order to be successful previously was that you had to work 24/7, 365, not have any free time, any fun time. I kid you not, one time I was like, okay, here's a new promise. I am not going to watch any movies, no sugar food, no junk food, no free time, probably no music, and I'll work 24/7. Yeah, that should work. Okay, well, come on. Surprise, it did not work. Anyways, those are some false misconceptions I kind of picked up from the hustle culture that we commonly see today on Instagram, Twitter. We see that hustle culture all the time. And I know that you're all about finding balance and working, for that weekend to, let loose, have, fun with your friends at a party and whatnot. And, maybe even eat junk food as long as of course, track it. No limits except for when you're eating junk food, right? So, no limits except for junk food, right? So, anyways, getting back to the idea of finding balance between work and fun, it really struck with me. And I wanted to just touch on that. Could you please elaborate on that to the listener about the importance of finding work and balance? Because I feel that often people might see the hustle culture and they might like be like, oh, I have to work, all the time, like this guy does or that guy does in order to be successful. And I think that's not exactly true. And I think that those are some misconceptions that are being sold and that in some way, shape, and form, it can be toxic to people. So could you please elaborate on what you mean by balance?
Well, I think one of the main misconceptions with what you just said is that a lot of those people who are working 24/7, a lot of them love what they do, so it's not work to them, which is definitely something to consider. But when I say balance, it's like you have to be able to have a sense of your own happiness along with your work, especially if your work isn't something you're truly passionate about. Like if you just have a normal 9 to 5 job and you're just kind of like you're just working to make a living and do your thing, that's something you still have to make. You always have to make time for yourself. You always have to make sure you have some kind of mental balance, some mental freedom. And that's going to allow you to just be able to get through your days with a lot happier of a sense of mind, because when we just are in a rhythm of doing the same monotonous thing and not having any sense of just self creativity and self exploration, that we fall dead to the systems of the daily life. And there's so much more that life can offer if you just take the time to actually appreciate some of your own time and maximize it to just to explore your own life journey, because there's so many different ways that you can see what's going on, just try new things.
Damn, that was a hell of a good answer. I like that, Mike. Okay. So I like how you talked about all the stuff you said. I can't pick out anything specific. That was a really great answer. I like that, Mike. So one thing I wanted to kind of touch on, I was just thinking about it as you were making your points, is kind of taking a break. You kind of talked in that for a bit, taking a break for some stuff. There's always going to be things you love, but sometimes just for the sake of your mental health, you need to take a break and just have a you day where you get to, let loose. You get to watch movies, eat a little bit of junk food and just like let yourself have a break day cuz you deserve it, right? So, when do you think it's that point, should I say, that you should take that break day? What are the signs that you should be taking that break day from your experience?
When it stops becoming as fun, when you start losing fun, when you start taking away the actual enjoyment of the process, that's when you're starting to risk the sustainability of it. You have to be able to enjoy the process to make it one that's going to endure.
Mm. That was a really simple answer, but I love how you say something like when it stops being fun. You hear that all the time, but the way you explained it really worked out, and I'm sure that it's going to resonate with the listener really well. So I'm just saying, whenever you explain things like that, it's really helpful because you always hear stuff like, "Yeah, if it stops being fun, then don't do it." But when you actually take the time to explain it and put it into context, it is so much more helpful to me and also to the other people. So thank you, by the way, for providing that perspective. Okay, well, Mike, that was pretty much the more in-depth questions that I was going to ask. So you were doing a great job, by the way, as I've said. And now for the alien family out there, we're going to get to the questions that the Anabolic Alien fans want to hear. So they're probably like dead tired, like, come on, it's been going on for over an hour. What are you guys going to get to the questions? So, guys, it's finally time for it's finally time for those questions. So, let's go ahead and dive right into this. So, Mike, at what point did you realize that Anabolic Aliens could become your career, and how did you react to it at that point in time?
When my 5 minute workout series started to go viral and all of this attention started coming to the channel, and then money started coming in, brand deals started coming in, and then the actual attention of where I could put my own creations and ideas into just opened up a whole new world of opportunity for me. And that's when I realized, you know what, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to go after.
Wow. And also, if it's okay to ask, how much moolah do you exactly get from YouTube? Just curious to know.
YouTube's like YouTube could make six figures off a year.
Six figures a year?
Six figures off YouTube.
Holy Holy shit, this guy's stacked. Okay, well, good answer, Mike. Glad to know you're making it. Glad to know it's successful. Honestly, I thought it wouldn't be that much because I've heard about demonetization with YouTube, but you're in such a good spot because it's exercise. Like, unless you bleep out like you just like say the F word, like and you like you're doing ab work or something. I think you should be good in terms of monetization. So that's fair, and I'm glad to hear you're making it rich off of YouTube. Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks.
That's awesome. We're proud of you, man. We're proud of you. All right, so this is going back to Eric. And I wanted to just kind of touch on this for a bit because even a few days ago, one of your posts, you were making a post on the YouTube community thing. And I think it was the post with your exercise mat, or was another post with you posing with another guy. I can't remember which one it was. Anyways, someone was asking in the comments, hey, what happened to your old partner Eric? Because remember, there are some people who are just coming to your channel. They saw videos from a couple years ago, and then they're immediately hopping over to your newer videos and not seeing Eric. So to make sure that everybody is on the same page, could you please elaborate more in depth? Like anything you want to say about Eric, what has happened with Eric, and just something you would like to share with everybody with the experience, with Eric, I guess, if that's the best way to put it.
It was more of a process of I wanted this, he didn't, and there was just no room to really grow with Eric and Anabolic Aliens. I wanted to do this full time, and then when I put my whole heart into this, he wasn't putting in nearly as much effort. I was doing about 80% of the work, and giving him 20% of the workload is generous. And it got to a point we kept having arguments about the workload. I'm like, dude, I'm doing all this. We're making 50%. This like something's got to change, and then blah blah blah. And then I came up with the idea for Exerprise, and then all of this, and we were going back and forth for a while about just how much what we really wanted with the company and where we wanted to take it. And I was like, I want this to be a thing. I want this to not be just a YouTube channel. I want to actually have a business. I know we can do it, and I want to put my whole heart into this. And then I came up with the idea with Exerprise, which is my biggest money maker, Exerprise. And the last thing Eric said to me was, "Yeah, good luck with the train wreck of your app." And that's when I was like,
Holy shit, he said that? He
"Yeah,
said that to you?
yeah."
Oh,
and
I didn't know that, man.
and that was after I was helping him for years. Honestly, I was doing everything to carry the team, and I I don't like saying I don't love talking about this topic, but the realism is I just learned that I was being restricted with being who I wanted to be as a person. I was always getting put down for how I did things, how I acted, how I was training, and it was just never a good environment. And as soon as we separated ways, and it really came down to I wanted to pursue Anabolic Aliens and Exerprise, and he didn't. So I pursued it. We went separate ways, and then I realized, holy hell, everything is positive now and everything is happy, and I'm doing this because I actually love it, and like no one's criticizing me, no one's putting me down, and everything literally as soon as we separated, everything exploded. Everything started working out. I started getting other people on the team. I started hiring employees, and I'm honestly the happiest I've ever been in my life. I feel like that whole separation, honestly, when we the first 2 years with Anabolic Aliens, I was in college. So I was still in college while Eric was out of college. And he was out of college when Anabolic Aliens first started. I was a sophomore in college. So I had 2 years, and having him in the beginning was honestly very helpful. Like because I couldn't do it alone. I had a whole nother thing going on. I had a full-time student, and it was great having someone else there. But as soon as I was able to put my full time into it, there was no equivalency going on at all in that channel. And it just came down to passion. I wanted it.
Wow. Well, there were certainly some things that I found out new about your situation, and Mike, I'm sure there's things that the listeners, from Anabolic Aliens will find out too. And I understand that this is a very difficult subject to talk about, especially given that it's a public thing. Like anyone can go out and hear this. So I really respect you a lot for being able to talk about this out in the open, despite it being a subject like this. So I greatly appreciate that, Mike. Um, I'm sure you said everything that you wanted to say about Eric, but I think if I understand correctly, you guys haven't talked since you and him split. Is that correct?
No, it ended up just with legal separation. But realistically, I don't want to also say anything badly. Like, I don't have any, I'm not someone to hold bad blood. It just didn't work out. The missions in life were different. And I think it honestly, the fact that our missions in life were different ruined a potential friendship. So that's more of the sad thing at the end of the day. But it is how it is. We move on and grow.
That was a good perspective. I like how you worded that, Mike. And again, I know this is a very difficult subject, so I apologize, but I'm going to ask you one more question real quickly. And it's just a question like if Eric were listening to this right now, is there anything you'd like to say to Eric?
I'm, I'm just glad I believed in myself, man, because you never let me.
Okay, well, that's an interesting take, Mike. I'm glad to hear that you're able to, believe in yourself and get after what you wanted to do. I can understand that sometimes it feels like I don't know, a weight has been lifted off your chest, so to speak, whenever whenever that restriction has been taken off. So I understand that. Okay. Well, thank you, Mike, for talking about that. I understand it's a difficult subject, so I appreciate that. Moving forward, um, going back to Anabolic Aliens, you mentioned about hiring a team. At what point specifically did you feel that Anabolic Aliens was too big to manage alone by yourself and that you needed a team? What point was that?
When I wanted to take it more than just being an influencer. I didn't just want to be a YouTuber. I didn't just want to be someone on Instagram. I wanted to build a website. I wanted to build my app into an actual business. I wanted to build Anabolic Aliens into a company that could run eventually without me there.
Okay, that makes sense. And would you mind telling me what time that was? Like 2018, 2017? What I just want to know for
About
sure.
literally like I'd say 3 months after Eric left. So it was like March 2018. Yeah.
Wow, you got those dates down, boy. I like it. You got those dates down. All right, that's cool. That's cool. All right, so Mike, this is a personal question. Tell me what your most embarrassing gym moment was.
My most embarrassed. Definitely on a squat.
Yeah.
Definitely squatting and letting a one rip.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. Tell me about it. What happened? Tell me the details.
Just there's a lot. Gym's a great place for some great looking girls, and when you're on the squat rack after some Chipotle, it's a dangerous game you're playing.
Oh, okay. I think I get what you're saying. All right, Mike. I got you. I got you. Okay. Well, actually, this is the next question is kind of connected to the previous question, and it happens to me a lot. And I just want to make sure I'm not alone, and I'm sure it happens to other people. Do you fart during ab work?
Actually, no. It's
No.
it's
How? Tell me.
it's more because it's more leg work that does that, bro. When especially on like the leg press when you have no control.
Oh my God, dude. I don't know how to say this without sounding weird, but I fart like hell whenever I'm doing ab work. I'm just like, I can't do it.
You gotta squeeze your abs, not your ass.
Well, I end up squeezing my abs, but something else comes out, and I don't know how to stop it.
We gotta work on that mind muscle connection, bro.
Oh, I can't control that. Let me tell you something. My ass got a mind of its own. I'll tell you that. All right, it's got a mind of its own. I can't control it. All right. Well, at least we touched on that subject. Got that out of the way. No, like no joke. I've always wondered how the hell does he not fart whenever he's doing his ab work? What's the secret, man? Do you like edit that stuff out or something? Like, okay, I trust you on that. I trust you on that. All right, cool. So, Mike, tell me, what is something that the Anabolic Aliens community doesn't know about you, but you still want to share? Like you've never ever shared this publicly before, but you want to share it. Is there anything you'd like to share?
uh, that no one knows. Hmm.
Yeah, that no one knows, like a total secret.
Total secret. Hmm. Oh, I gotta go.
All
So
right, let's hear it.
yeah, I'm used to be absolutely terrified of spiders, and one of the one of the stories that got me actually terrified of spiders is that I was at a zoo party when I was in first grade, and
Aw.
we had like a bunch of animals, but then they brought a tarantula, and it was dope. It was just crawling on my hand, and then all of a sudden it jumped on my face, and that's when I officially got terrified of spiders.
Oh
Going into
no.
going into my going into college, I was on a baseball tour, and I was like, "Yo, I'm not going to be scared of spiders." And because I saw a huge one on the ceiling, and then I put my stuff down, and then all of a sudden, a huge baby, like an egg bursts, and all these baby spiders jump all over me, and about like 70 spiders are all over my stuff and me on the first
Holy
time going
crap.
into college. So I'm like, "Holy hell!" Spiders are like my biggest fear, but I got over them and I got it tattooed on my arm because it's symbolizing I got over it. I had to overcome them.
Damn, you make everything so inspirational. How do you do that? You make a story about a spider phobia inspirational, man. How do you do that? What's wrong with you, Mike? How do you make spider phobia inspirational? I'm puzzled right now. You made me inspired by your story about getting covered in spiders on the baseball team. That is something only Mike Rosa can do, folks. And that's why Mike Rosa is Mike Rosa. Okay, well, that's a great answer, as always. So, Mike, right now those 30-day ab workout programs, either the abs, back, chest, arms, legs, all that stuff, they're great. And let me just say, from a content creator's point of view, that is so freaking smart. I mean, think about it. You're uploading every day, so you're getting more revenue, more watch time. You're also promoting your app exercise at the same time, and you're literally proving that it works through your YouTube, channel. And that is just so freaking smart, man. So congratulations for being
Thanks, bro.
smart and clever. Number one. Number two, what comes after the 30-day programs? Because I mean, you're gonna do this for a long time, I'm sure. 30 days adds up, to maybe a couple of months, maybe even years, who knows? But after this, what do you have planned for the Anabolic Aliens YouTube channel?
Well, I definitely my next 30-day series is gonna be full body fat burning hit. It's gonna be freaking crazy. So that's gonna be dope.
Oh, dude, that is so cool. That is exactly what I was thinking of. Yes,
Yup,
yes, fat
dude.
burning. Hell yeah. Thank you.
It's gonna be like my own insanity. I'm pumped to do it. We're gonna shred body fat. Um,
Frick yeah, let's do that, man.
yeah, so that's gonna be next. But I want to there's so much content I want to do, and realistically, it the idea of the 30-day series is awesome, and it was definitely one of my best business moves, but it is so hard to do because I edit my own videos and I'm actually doing the workouts and I'm releasing them every day, and I do it like real most of the time real time. It's really hard to get ahead because I have to actually do the workouts, so I can't actually do like 10 videos on a day or I die. So I literally am grinding during these 30-day series, and it's hard to do other types of content. So I do want to take like a week or 2 or 3 weeks in between these series so I can do other types of content. And eventually, when I do have kind of a longer break between 30-day series, I actually want to do like a TV show type of series, like a Netflix season for my anabolic show, and I'll probably do like my first ever physique competition or something to bring like a end goal of the whole season.
Yo, that'd be so freaking cool. Mike's gonna go on Netflix. Yo, weren't you on that TV show? It was like Man versus Bear
Yeah,
or
man.
something.
Yeah, that's actually how I got over spiders because they said, "Yo, you're gonna be in the woods doing crazy stuff," and I was like, "You know what? If gonna be on national TV, I cannot be afraid of a freaking spider." So that's what motivated me.
Yeah, I'm just imagining in my head you're like wrestling a bear, and then like this bear is like freaking like 2 times your size, and all of a sudden a spider jumps out of nowhere. And you're like, ah, shoot a spider! Ah! That'd be so hilarious. But hey, I'm glad you got over your fear of spiders, and I'd love to see that Netflix series or whatever. That's pretty cool. I never knew you'd do that. By the way, thinking back to when you were a kid again, did you ever imagine ending up on like TV, like Man versus Bear, or even starting your own TV show? Did you ever think about that? Did that ever cross your mind?
No, not at all. It's just a dream. I've always wanted to be in a movie. That's like one of my dreams. So I'm working toward that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm ready for the Anabolic Aliens movie. What are you gonna call it? What would you call your movie if you had one? The Invasion of the Aliens? What would you call it?
Dude, I don't know. There are so many different things that we could do. We'd definitely have to incorporate the no limits, something like that. But it would get pretty crazy if we keep it extraterrestrial like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be like the most epic self promotion ever. Like randomly, Exerprise just gets incorporated into the video or into the movie. That'd be so freaking dope.
Dude, Exerprise is going to be absolutely insane. We're doing some crazy technology developments with it. It's literally gonna be 10 years advanced
Yes.
technology.
Yes, absolutely. And Mike, I was going to get to that in the future. So thank you for getting back on track. Mike, in regards to Exerprise, tell us what you have planned in detail because from what I understand, you have, meal planning coming out. You like as of recording this, that was like previewed on your Instagram. And then I also believe you talked about self-defense, which would be dope because I can't exactly do self-defense training that much. My schedule doesn't allow for that type of flexibility. So Mike, please elaborate in detail what you're able to share with us about Exerprise's future.
Yeah, so within the next few days, you will be seeing a whole meal prep generator that will be able to generate you a meal plan tailored to your calories and macros within seconds. And it's going to have hundreds of recipes, and you're going to be able to have action like steps on how to actually make the recipes, all the macros and caloric information, and then actual like ingredients and then cooking time. And it's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be so sick, and it's just the beginning of it. And we're also going to be able to have you do it per allergen. So it's going to be really tailored specifically to your type of meals and your specific numbers to keep you nutritionally on track for your goals. And then we're going to be coming out with a self defense generator for Exerprise using Nick Drosos, a self defense expert in Montreal. We have a whole generator style for that. We'll be coming out with fitness rehab, which will include functional training, mobility type stuff, and basically to help you come back from injuries. And then there'll also be
Wow.
trainer profiles, user profiles. We'll be creating a whole messaging platform for coach to client. And it's really going to be, and then we're also going to be incorporating this program generator. So it's going to be able to actually learn from your behaviors and then tell you, okay, you can do this next, you can do this next, and give you actually recommendations on how to follow progressive overload. So we want to take away the mental process. So you literally are just able to follow along and get the results.
Mike, when this is going to get uploaded to platforms, unfortunately, they might not get to see my face. They might see your face, but my face, for anonymous purposes, it won't be seen. But I'm just going to tell you guys what my face looks like right now. I am shooketh. Like that was just, I did not expect that, dude. That was so freaking cool. So let me get this straight. You're gonna have freaking a meal plan generator specific to allergens, food planning, self defense, and recovery. That is something I've been looking for because I constantly, find myself trying to, get, injury prevention stuff and how to recover from distal bicep tendonitis, which I can actually share a little bit later on. I found my own routine to take care of that. But stuff like this morning actually, um, I was contemplating whether or not to do my triceps because I'm doing triceps today for your 30-day arm program. And yesterday I was doing your hit Tabata cardio routine number 6, and that involved doing like wide mountain climbers and a bunch of stuff, and that basically put a lot of strain on my left shoulder. And I wasn't sure whether or not I should exercise. So I was like, should I exercise? Should I not exercise? How do I recover from it? So long story short, I'm very fortunate to have my dad as a doctor, so he checked it. He said I'm good. But in the future, also having the Exerprise app will be very, very helpful. So I'm glad you brought that up. And then, is it okay if I ask, like, how the hell do you do that? Like, how do you do technology that is 10 years ahead of everyone else? Like, do you have like a secret alien community that's like underground in your basement that you work with to develop this stuff? How does it work, man?
So my developer's out in India actually, and we've been working together from the very start. His name's Mohit, he's the man. And basically, I actually draw out all of the ideas. So I actually do the UI and draw out user interface and exactly how I want it to look, the functionality behind it, and then he makes my ideas come to life. So it's literally incredible. Like I tell him exactly the algorithm and how it has to operate and how it acts to function, and then he does it into code.
Wow, man, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I believe you did that vlog or whatever where he came from India. You picked him up. You got to try out food. You got to try out like Indian food. You had to
Yeah,
give him some
yeah.
food from America. That was pretty cool, man.
I want to do more vlogs. It's
So I
just
got to
so much
ask you.
time.
Uh, yeah, definitely do more vlogs. It helps to build that relationship with the community. But Mike, I got to ask you, man, when it comes to trying out Indian food, have you ever tried chicken tikka masala? Have you ever tried that before?
No.
Dude, you should try it. It is the best. So, real quickly, I know we're going off topic, but I gotta tell you, it's so dang good. I hate rice kind of because I eat it like every day. I'm grateful for food and all, but I have it like almost every day. But you have to try eating chicken tikka masala. It is so damn good. It is like out of this world. It's like rice covered with some like chicken curry stuff. It's like an orange color, so that orange color makes it more appetizing, in my opinion, at least. So I think you'd love it. You should definitely try that stuff, dude. It's awesome.
Hell yeah, definitely.
All right, well, that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear about you building up that relationship with your developer and whatnot, and also the stuff you got to try out. Moving forward with those questions in regards to exercise, obviously, when you started this out, you had some, you obviously had some confidence in it. You had some naysayers, someone who told you it'd be a train wreck of an app and whatnot. Either way, you had some initially held conceptions about exercise. How is exercise doing now compared to what you had thought it would perform as? Is it better than you had thought? Worse than you had thought? What do you think?
Exercise has skyrocketed behind what I thought it was beyond what I thought it was going to be. Meaning it's really massive right now. We have over 350,000 active users, and the app is getting downloaded thousands of times a day in both the app and Play Store. And it's
Thousands of times per day?
yep,
Really? Thousands?
we're doing yeah.
Wow.
It's growing very very fast right now. The coronavirus actually has significantly helped my business, and but yeah, we the amount of time and work we've been putting into Xprize and the amount of premium features and things that are about to come, where it's crazy because I know that what it is right now isn't even close to what it's going to be in 6 months. So it's about to be absolutely game changing, and the amount of growth that it's had in the last 2 years has been incredible. So I'm beyond happy with how it's going, and the rate we're growing is so crazy.
Wow. And also, just to recap, you said 2 years, correct? 2 years since you've done exercise?
Yes, right around that mark.
Dang, time flies. Holy crap, dude. I remember when I first came to your channel, you're like, hey guys, my name's Mike Rosa. Here's my app, Exercise. That felt like yesterday, dude. Holy crap.
Dude, I think it's
Wow.
been 2 years. I don't even know time anymore.
No one knows time, dude. No one knows time. Like night and day to me right now in quarantine, it doesn't make a difference. But all right, dude. I'm glad to hear about Exercise and that it's going well. And despite, unfortunately, some people telling you negative things, I'm glad that you believed in it. And clearly, dude, it shows because as long as you have someone who believes in themselves and they believe in an idea, I mean, there's essentially no limits. Am I right?
Damn right.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. Next question, dude. What are this is a silly question, but I always wanted to know what are the names of the intro and outro songs to your new videos on YouTube? I tried to ask her, like, hey Siri, what's the name of the song? And it couldn't figure it out. So can you tell me the names?
They're the same song, I Am Somebody by Bliss and Esso.
Oh, hold on, I gotta write that down. I gotta write this down. I am somebody by who?
Bliss and Esso featuring Nas.
Okay, featuring us. Thanks, Mike. I'm like typing this up as we're recording, but I gotta make sure I got it right. Okay, thank you. Because that song, it sounds pretty dang good, but
It's good.
I just gotta make sure. Yeah, it is good. By the way, that song, it's like, is it copyrighted or how does that work? Did you get the licensing and whatnot for that stuff?
That song, I it was, like, made on one of our generators, so it's not the reason you probably couldn't find it was because it's, like, the background version of the song. It doesn't have the actual words in it.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
mean generated, did you like use like an application for it? Like you like is there an
Yeah,
application you use for making the song?
made the intro on, like, an old generator back in the day.
Oh, so old generator bracket. Could you please specify the name of that? Just asking for a friend what the name of that generator was. Yeah.
To be honest, I think it was, one we, used to have an old, like, animator who used to make our videos, so he changed it around, and I think he did some I don't honestly don't really know the service he used. I didn't make it myself.
Oh, okay, I got you, dude. Okay, so an old animator kind of tinkered around with it and got that. Okay, I got that. Well, thank
Mhm.
you for showing us the information. I've always wondered that, and I didn't want to sound weird asking that in the comment section, so I'm glad I got that chance now. Thank you, Mike. All right, Mike. So in your older videos, you'd use music from various artists like Lost Prophets and Logic, which are, by the way, in my playlist. Like whenever I hear those songs, like "Set the Tone" by Logic or "Everyday Combat" by Lost Prophets, that was when I first came to your channel, and I was like that motivational moment with the teacher, the student arm wrestling. That was your older, ab workouts and whatnot. Those songs were playing. Dude, that takes me back to those days. And I was listening to that right before I hit record. I was like, oh yeah, thinking about that progression, right? So I'm just curious to know, as a content creator, how has that worked out for you in terms of using those songs? Like, have you ever gotten copyright strikes, or how has that worked out?
Oh, yeah, they're all copyrighted, unfortunately. You learn. Yeah, so yeah, luckily, most like, I think all of my intense 5-minute workouts, I learned it before the viral videos. So, other than a few of the ab workouts, like, if you notice, like, the very beginning workouts, they're like the Lost Profit ones where I use no copyright sounds after that because I just learned to get striked. So, once we started making money, we realized, "Oh, crap, this actually matters." and you learn.
Uh-oh, we gotta follow the laws now. We're making money.
But yeah, no, that sucked because like one of my million viewed videos, the Tabata, my very first Tabata workout, that one's flagged for headstrong by Trapped. So it's like, ah, crap, I could have made some good money off that.
I understand that. Well, Mike, I'm just glad that you were able to at least catch your mistake before you got too much ahead of yourself. So at least we got that going for you, Mike. So, anyways, I've always wondered that. So now I know the truth. Okay, so Mike, in regards to music, what is your favorite music genre, and how often do you listen to it?
Depends what mood I'm in. I'd say when I'm at the gym, definitely rock, and I'm actually my favorite genre is definitely hair metal, like old school metal,
All
like
right.
fucking Motley Crue, Skid Row, Def Leppard, AC/DC. Like those
So
are
classic rock, right?
that was my stuff. Yeah, the first concert I went to
Yeah.
actually was Motley Crue, Crue Fest with it was Motley Crue with Poison, Trapped, Papa Roach, Buck Cherry. It was dope. I was 13 in Saratoga, New
You
York.
you lucky ass bitch. You got to see Poison and Motley Crue
Oh
live?
yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Yo, like over the not this past summer, but the summer before this past summer. So that was the summer of 2018, 2019. Between the school years, I took a driving class and all they played was classic rock. In the area, the Central Florida area, there's a station called 98.9 WMMO. I listen to them all the time. So like Aerosmith, Van Halen, AC/DC,
That's my shit,
Motley
bro.
Crue, Poison, all that good stuff. I had no idea you enjoyed the same music as me, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's my
Quick
favorite,
question.
man.
Quick question. Do you like to listen to Green Day?
Green Day, I like some of their stuff more in the beginning stages, like the alternative stage.
Ah, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, dude. Me and my dad were supposed to see them for the Hella Mega Tour with Weezer and Fall Out Boy, but unfortunately, certain events got in the way, and that didn't exactly fall
Yeah.
through. But hey, that's pretty cool, man. I always wondered like what music you listen to because like there's like different types of songs you had in your videos, like rap music and then Lost Prophets. I was like, okay, what's Mike's music genre? I want to know, you know. So now I know. That's actually pretty freaking cool. You hit it right on the spot because Green Day is like my favorite band. They're like the second wave of punk rock. But my all time like just go to thing is like classic rock, like the stuff you like. So that's pretty freaking cool, man. I like that.
Hell yeah.
All right. Yeah, and then there's of course, like you said, I like any music as long as it's good. Like looking at my playlist right now, let me check right quickly. I have 670 songs in my playlist. So I like any music as long as it's good. So like, freaking have you ever heard of Big Time Rush before?
Yeah. Aren't they a
You
boy
have?
band? Yeah.
Yes, dude, they were my life. I kid you not. I'm gonna show you this after we finish recording. But I have like a photoshopped picture of me standing with them right above my desk right now. Like they were the crap back when I was a kid. I went to one of the concerts on the 24/7 tour. It was lit, and they got their reunion coming up, and I'm so excited. What's your favorite Big Time Rush song? Is it okay if I ask?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I remember hearing them on like Nickelodeon.
Yes, they were on Nickelodeon, dude. You got to check them out sometimes. It'll take you back. It'll take you back. But we'll talk about Big Time Rush later. I don't care. I don't think the listeners will care about Big Time Rush much, but I just wanted to ask you because I was curious. Okay, well, Mike, moving forward, I really loved your nutritional videos. Like, honestly, it was actually more that Eric did those, but it was still Anabolic Aliens, so that's what I meant. So those videos where we all sat down and y'all talked about, okay, should y'all do cold showers or hot showers? Should I drink coffee or should I drink tea? Stuff like that, just debatable content. Do you plan to do that sometime in the future?
Yeah, I definitely would love to talk more about topics like that. I just kind of got more into the workout sense, and that's kind of more what the audience responded to. So I always try to give what the community wants, but I would love to make more talking videos like that and do some more informational type style content.
That's true. I can understand. It's a supply and demand type of thing. Looking at your website, I understand that you have a guy. I think his name is also Mike, right? He like does the
Yes, my blog writer does an incredible job on the website.
yes, yes. So, do you think it'd be possible to have him do the nutritional videos if you could do that? Would that be an option?
Potentially, we'll see. He's just graduating college, so we're going to figure out exactly what his position is going to be.
Okay, that's fair. Well, remember to tell him that you were graduating college at one point, and look where you ended up, man. So tell him that opportunity, dude. Get him on board. All right, cool, man. I like that. Mike, what are some growing pains that you expect Anabolic Aliens as a company to face in the future? As you grow.
The biggest growing pains that I keep coming into play with is employees, because every time I have another employee, it's like I have more responsibility on my end, because at the end of the day the employees are working for you and you have to work for them. So it's not like you're just saying, "Hey, go do this." You actually have to help everyone, and your job becomes even more of a responsibility. So, the growing pains are definitely organizing an infrastructure that is able to function when there's not necessarily me around, and that's what we're working toward. But that's definitely the growing pains that we're developing through and building through now.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty interesting to hear about because I always hear you talking about like hiring a crew, for Anabolic Aliens, and I always wonder, dang, what's that like to have a freaking company that you own? So that's a great perspective from you. All right, Mike. Going back to fart questions because let's be honest, I'm inappropriate. I like asking fart questions. They're hella funny. And I'm that one guy who laughs at inappropriate jokes. But also, I'm just curious to know, dude, out of curiosity, what would you do if you were to fart during like a workout video, like the 30-day program, you're on a time crunch, and you're like, all right, guys, almost done. Oh, no, not again. So, what would you do if that were to happen?
I'd probably just go through it, figure it out, maybe blast the music a little bit louder during that scene. I would not stop. I would not stop, that's for sure.
I like how you just said blast the music. I'm trying not to have a laugh attack. I don't know about you, but I have laugh attacks where I can't control my laughter. And you almost gave me one, but meditation taught me. Yes, meditation works. Told you. All right, that's cool, man. I remember that one time during the 30-day app program. At some point, there was like a phone call that came in, right? Like you were doing the app, and you're like, oh, who's calling me, right? Didn't that happen during your 30-day program?
Mhm. Bro, that happened a lot. I learned to turn my phone on airplane mode.
I see that, man. I see that. Well, that's good. I've always wondered what would happen if you were to like fart and be like, "Oh crap, what do I do?" So glad that I got my answer. Okay, Mike, how has Anabolic Aliens like evolved throughout the years? You always mention that it's like, yeah, it's going from influencer to business. So how has it evolved throughout the years? Maybe elaborate on it a bit more. And then how do you think it's going to change in the future? What can you see in the future of Anabolic Aliens?
Yeah, well, it started off as a hobby, then it turned into an act it started off as a hobby, turned into a legitimate YouTube channel, then turned into expanding into other social medias, and then it turned into being somewhat of an influencer, and then it turned into, okay, now we're gonna be a business, built the website, then it turned into becoming a legitimate business, actually making money with exit price development and expanding, and then turning into actually building a team now of employees. And then eventually, I'm going to be turning Anabolic Aliens into a corporation and having multiple subsidiaries that I'm running. So it's keep on getting to the next level. And I will be turning Anabolic Aliens into a corporation relatively soon. As Anabolic Aliens will be having multiple departments that we have, like Exit Price will be a subsidiary. Then my clothing line Invasion will be dropping more dominantly, and then we'll also be dropping our whole new cannabis derived protein bar line, Nutrifusion.
Whew, damn, this man is on fire. You hear that? This guy, Mike, how old are you again? You're like 23, 24.
I just turned 25.
Happy birthday, by the
Thanks, man.
way. And like think about that, this guy's 25, he's got his own business, and he's turned it into a corporation. He's got his own subsidiary, he's got an app that is a subsidiary, he's got his own weed company that's a subsidiary. That's so freaking cool, man. You are an inspiration. You truly are. That is dope. You are the definition. If you go to Urban Dictionary and type in dope, you're just gonna see a picture of Mike Rosa. I'm telling y'all.
Appreciate it, man.
I mean it. All right, so Mike, I know this is going on forever, but I have a couple more questions and we'll be done. And Mike's like, "Oh, thank God, this guy's taking forever. I just want to go to bed. Leave me alone." Okay, so Mike, uh, name the best. Oh heck yeah, I proved you wrong. Moment of your life.
The best I proved you wrong moment of my life. So definitely when the last thing I heard from my old partner was X-Prize is going to be a train wreck of an app, and then it won number one new trending app in the health and play store. In the health, in it, all right, X-Prize won number one new trending health and fitness app of the Play Store of 2018. There we go. That was one of the best feelings ever.
Yeah, and that title is so impressive that you can't even get it right the first time. That's how you know that a title is impressive. That is impressive, man. All right, I can understand that. I can understand that. For me, at least, I think it'd be my parents, just like showing them, like, "Hey, look, I didn't go to the medical path, and I'm still happy. What a surprise! Who could have ever guessed?" So I totally got you on that, man. All right, Mike. Here's another question. So I remember I told you about that guy who was arm wrestling the teacher. A little bit of a side story to that guy. Me and him, I wouldn't call him a bully, okay, but to put it honestly, he has gone out of his way sometimes. And before, like I started doing workouts, where he would kind of give me shit. Being quite honest, like in gym class, he would go out of his way to like step on my shoe, and like one time in the locker room, he like took his lanyard and started hitting me with it. So he kind of, like we're not. I can't think of anything positive, to be honest, to say about him.
Hmm.
That's just being brutally honest. And like kind of like you, I don't like talking negative, like negative about people. It's just not me. I don't really hate people. It's very difficult for me to do that, and I feel kind of guilty right now being honest talking about him that way. But that's just the way that things have been. So going forward with that point, low key, I always assumed that he was like a natty, like he was not a natty, he was a juicer or something like that, and that's kind of why he just was the way he was. So based off of that, that's why I have the motivation for the question: how do you tell if somebody is a natty or if someone is a juicer?
Normally, you can just kind of tell from how they look. To be honest, I don't really care, so I don't really look too much into it. It's really such a hard thing to actually tell, and at the end of the day, if you still have to put in a lot of work whether you juice or you don't. And if you're a douchebag and you're having all these roid rages, obviously you have a problem, and that's you're overusing or something isn't like you shouldn't be ever in that kind of scenario. Like you shouldn't be risking your actual like you shouldn't be completely having mood swings that is literally altering your entire life. So I would say that's definitely clearly a red flag when something like that's happening. But at the end of the day, if someone's natty or not doesn't really affect anyone else other than themselves. So
Okay, that was a good answer, Mike. I'm sorry for laughing, but whenever you talk, I like to mute the microphone just so that way there's no audio interference. And listen, when you were talking, I fucking farted. And it sounded hilarious as hell. I had like monitoring headphones on, so I had an echo sound, and I was not prepared for how funny it sounded. It sounded so hilarious, and you're talking so seriously. I'm like, oh shit, did you hear that? And it was so funny. I'm sorry. 'Cause, like I knew like by the time I unmuted my microphone, I'd be in a giggle fit, so I just had to approach it. So just so you guys know, while Mike was talking, I let one out. There, now. You guys wanted to know. Now you know it. You're welcome. All right, cool. Well, Mike, thank you for answering that question. So Mike, Scott Herman, you guys had that studio together, correct?
that was Scott's place. Yeah.
Right. So just curious to know, what was the last time that like y'all and Scott, hung out, and how did you guys meet? Just stuff like that. Can you kind of elaborate on Scott Herman? I'm curious to know about him.
Yeah, I met him randomly at the gym one day, and I was like, "Yo, I saw you on YouTube, bro." And he was just a really nice guy. We just talked. And then I told him what I was doing. I actually showed him a video I made of one of the original videos I made of body transformations. I had people send me in, and he was like, "Hey, come to the studio sometime, work out with me." Then I started doing my thing there with him. I started helping him out filming. We became friends, and then I started going there routinely, and then I started actually like working hard and showing that I actually am not just some random kid who's just going to die off someday. I actually believe in what I'm doing. And then it kind of just formed a level of respect along with that level of friendship. And then me and Scott are still good friends to this day. I just haven't seen him since he moved to Florida, but I would love to go visit him soon.
Oh, well, as always, Mike has taken an ordinary question and made it inspirational. Well done, Mike. Furthermore, I'm just want to make sure you said he moved to Florida, as in where I live.
He lives in I think it's Orlando.
Oh, oh, he lives in Orlando. Oh, I don't live in Orlando, but I live near Orlando, like less than an hour away. Okay. Well, Mike, thank you for
Yeah, dude.
thanks for letting me know. I didn't even know that. That's so freaking cool. All right, man, that's pretty awesome. So I'm glad to hear about that, Mike. Whenever you're like in the fitness industry, you're going to come across a ton of channels and whatnot. What is a red flag someone should look out for whenever they're looking at another channel? Because I'm all for looking at various platforms. So in addition to Anabolic Aliens, I look at, like, of course, Scott Herman, Athlete X, and whatnot, just to name a few. Anabolic Aliens is still my favorite, just to clarify, but I still look at multiple channels. So, Mike, what are some red flags, in your opinion, to look out for when researching a fitness-related YouTube channel?
When I hate when people claim perfection, and I hate when people say that there's only certain ways to do things when realistically everyone is so different and everyone is at different stages in their life. I think someone who offers a ton of different solutions, a ton of variety, and keeps it real is the only way you're going to really be able to determine between the crap, because there's a lot of people who will just try to sell you things, and it's unfortunate at the end of the day. But realistically, if you're able to vibe with someone and realize that you're actually getting results from what they're doing, like if you're implementing what they're doing and you're not seeing any change, then that's probably a red flag that they're not what they're doing maybe just not work for you, or it's actually just crap. You got to kind of I'm a huge fan of experimenting, meaning if you don't know, you can't really judge. So that's why, especially with like my intense 5 minute workouts, a lot of people doubt them because some of them don't necessarily look the coolest, but when you actually do them, you're like, holy hell, that just burned like crazy. So I guess I wouldn't say necessarily have red flags from the beginning. I'd say have your skepticisms, and then with just a little bit of research, a little bit of your own time, and actually before you having a judgment, actually give someone a little bit of a chance, and then you kind of can determine relatively quick if they're going to be the type fit for you, because there's always someone who is going to resonate better with you.
Okay, that's very helpful advice. I wanted to ask that, of course, because, like I said, we might have people who are still with us because they got a lot of free time on their hands to listen to us talk. But they might be wondering, hey, man, how do I know what a channel is legit when it's not legit? So that's why I asked you that question. Great answer. And I'm going back to the old studio that you and Scott Herman had one more time, just because I don't want to forget this question. When was the last time, Mike, that you were in the studio? Because I'm personally a very sentimental person, and whenever it comes to like, oh, when was the last time I visited this place? It's always like a big deal for me. So when was the last time you visited the studio that you had recorded in and that you grew up in pretty much?
It's been at least 2 years now.
Dang. So
Yeah,
do you want to like go back and visit it again if you get the chance just to see, how you've grown and just like remnants on the memories basically?
I want to open my own.
Oh, okay. I see that. Making it inspirational again. I got you, man. Mike doesn't just want to go back. He wants to open his own. All right.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. All right, Mike, I'm just curious to know, has anybody ever from your high school ever found out about anabolic aliens like after you graduated? And like, hey, that guy didn't become a lawyer. Yeah, the guy who like, who got drunk at those parties? Yo, he's actually successful. Like, did that ever happen to you?
All the time. Yeah, that's actually a very frequent occasion.
Wow. So what like can you give like a specific story without of course, disclosing the people's names, like give a specific example?
Yeah, I can remember one specific party when Anabolic Aliens first started, and people were like making fun of it, saying it wouldn't ever be anything, and it was stupid. And then I remembered, like, literally last year, we went to an old town event, like Thanksgiving game or something, and they were asking me for fitness advice and saying, "Oh my god, I saw you on TV." So
Oh, that is the ultimate payback. You should have just gone up to them and said, "Wait, I thought you said my channel would have become successful. Why are you asking me for fitness advice?" Dude, that's got to be so satisfying. Mike, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfying was that?
11.
11. This guy knows how to do his math correctly. All right. Seriously though, that's pretty good, man. And also you mentioned how you and Scott kind of like you met up at the gym and say, "Hey man, I saw your channel." I feel like the cycle has kind of gone around. Like now people, I would imagine, see you at the gym like, "Hey, you're Mike Rosa, you're my hero," and stuff like that. Does that ever happen?
Yeah, man, it's really a cool feeling. Never will get used to it.
Never will get used to it. Dang. Man, that is so freaking cool, man. I just gotta say, that's like so cool. Like from your perspective, at one point you were that one guy walking up to Scott Herman and y'all, got to talk and whatnot, and then the cycle just gone all the way around. Now people come up to you and you're their hero. I mean, that's gotta be pretty freaking cool.
Man, it's just motivating as hell. I'll always support everyone. I want everyone. I love saying we're in this journey together because I really mean that. So I always want to show the same respect and courtesy that Scott showed me, and bring everyone else up I can with all the positive energy. Join it together.
I like that answer, man. I like that answer. Mike, when you record your newer videos for the 30-day programs, I want to make sure because I'm curious. Do you record that in like your own house or is that your parents' house? I just want to make sure.
I go to my parents' house most of the time for that. They just have better lighting and a bigger living room.
Better lighting in a bigger living room. Okay, I got you. Oh, that's cool. Because I was wondering, because like I saw your mom, you did that. That was really nice. You did that like a partner workout, like while you all did the squats and y'all like did the fist bump as you go. That was very nice. And I was like, is that Mike's house or is that his parents' house? I always like wondered. And then I was just making sure. Okay, I was just curious. Next thing you know, I'm like, hey Mike, what's your social security number? I've always wondered, Mike. Why don't you tell me? All right, cool. Mike, what specific charities do you support? What are some causes you advocate for? And why do you advocate for those specific causes?
I mean, I'm one of the big things I want to be able to give back to is people who have struggled with mental health problems. And another thing I want to be able to give back to is brain cancer specifically. And another one I really want to help with is I want to be able to help find a cure for what's it called? There's this, well, yeah, obviously, but there's a specific. It's something to do with the kidneys, but basically, I want to be able to actually just give. I had a lot of medical problems growing up, so I want to be able to help, kind of just help solve diseases. I mean, I want to be able to help do my part and help kind of give. I want to be able to like help cures. You know what I mean? Like I just want to be able to. Yeah,
Okay,
I just want to be
that's
able to help.
interesting.
The stumbling on words, but at the end of the day, it's just I want to be able to help. I want to be able to do my part, and I want to be able to contribute to a cause that's actually going to improve life quality.
Right. Mike, once again, your answer just goes to show why you're honestly, why I think Anabolic Aliens is probably so successful is because of you. Like, yes, there's multiple people doing it, but at the end of the day, your genuine care for others, it really shows. Like throughout this entire podcast, every single answer I've just heard from you, it's mostly about helping other people. And I think that really shows your character. And honestly, man, you don't see that a lot nowadays. You always see people who think about me, and they don't think about how they can help other people. And here you are, that's like almost all you ever think about. So man, I gotta say I really respect that. And like I said, that's the reason that I choose to have you as my role model. If I ever have kids, I want them looking up to you because like I like the way you like you look at things and whatnot, the way you just approach things. It's got a very nice feel to it, you know?
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, I mean that. All right, Mike. Really quickly, going back to the mental health thing. I know you're probably like falling asleep. Like, come on, man, it's almost midnight. What time is it? It's like 11:47. Oh my god, you said like in the email you wanted it to be like an hour long at most, but now it's like I think over 2 hours. So I'm sorry for going on a little bit too long, but
It's all good.
just wanted to get these questions in depth. All right, so Mike, going back to the thing about mental health, I covered previously in the show. I don't think I linked it to you or whatever because it's quite long. But long story short, I was curious about the what was it, the male suicide epidemic. I'm not sure if you've heard about that. Have you heard about that
No,
problem with male suicide before? All right, well, crash course on male suicide, folks. It's a serious epidemic, and I call it. If you look at the season two episode, that was actually the first episode for season two. Was covering that stuff. I wanted to uncover problems that men face that no one really talked about because I always felt that women had their issues talked about, but no one ever listened to us. And I'm all for fighting for egalitarianism, but how can we achieve equality if we're only talking about one side of the problem? So I wanted to talk about men's issues, and male suicide was one of the big issues. Looking into it, I was honestly kind of heartbroken just by seeing how sad it was. Like when I did the math, I think it was like every 26.6 seconds, somewhere around the world, there's a man who commits suicide. We've been doing this for like 1, 2 hours, man. So imagine how many lives we've lost to suicide that we could have prevented. And furthermore, those are just the clinical definition of someone deliberately killing themselves. Like someone might, face depression, they might drink alcohol, they might, get in a car crash. That might be marked as a car crash, but it was as a result of their depression and coping method. And fighting male mental health problems is one of the things that I'm passionate about. Mike, with your experience and whatnot in regards to male mental health specifically, is there anything you just want to share, like you just want to say or you want to share to the audience?
I think it's one of those things that if you have to want if you have to want to improve your mentality. If you don't want to be better, then it's not going to be something that you can be forced to or trained to. You have to actually want to improve yourself personally, and I think it's one of those things where there's so many different ways that you can kind of rationalize life. You can kind of put yourself into perspective and you can kind of find out who you are. But at the end of the day, it's all coming down to you and internally how you're able to actually determine how to deal with real life situations. So a lot of the times we try to force, I feel like we try to force solutions on people when at the end of the day, it's a solution that can only be found within themselves. And I think something that's not really prioritized enough in people's lives is their own time to find out what that is for who they are as a person. So I think more self exploring needs to be done.
Wow. Okay, that's a great way to put it, Mike. I like that, and I'm glad that you actually brought up the mental health thing because overall, that is something that we're gonna have to face. Like I said, whenever I had my mental breakdown, I just didn't like the way in general my parents kind of treated it because personally, I knew that like I know enough about the subject myself to know what's right and what's wrong. But like what about someone who doesn't know stuff about this and they feel unguided and there's shame? Like what happens if a guy has to cry and then he gets like laughed or made fun of for it? I mean, I think that's got it kind of messed up if like his way of conveying emotion is made fun of. And I just think that's really messed up. So I'm hoping that, in this podcast and in the future, we're going to be able to open that discussion up more. And to have someone like Mike Rosa talk about that, I found that very powerful. So, Mike, thank you for taking the time to acknowledge that. I greatly appreciate that. So, Mike, going in, I just have a couple more questions and we can be done. So we're almost done, buddy. So, Mike, how did you find? I think his name was it was Mohit, right? Not Rohit. It's Mohit,
Mohit,
correct?
yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure. How did you like meet Mohit? Did you like find him online? Like, did you say, "Hey, I'm looking for someone to build me an app"? Because I'm sure that there may be someone in your shoes looking to build an application or looking to hire somebody online, and it can be hard to trust people online. So, from your experience, what advice would you give to those people, and what are some tips for them?
I found Mohit where I said in a video I wanted to make an app. He was a subscriber of Anabolic Aliens. He sent me an email, and I took a chance. I gave him an idea. We went with it. And yeah, kind of honestly, it was a shot in the dark that turned to be one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. So it comes down to taking one of those chances. That's really, yeah.
That's so nice, man. I didn't know he was a subscriber. I thought you like found him online or something. That's pretty
Nah,
cool.
man, I made it just in a video.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome for Mohit. He's like, yo, I got like a job now just by watching this guy's YouTube channel. That is so cool. Mohit has got to be so happy for that, and I'm glad that watching you guys on camera, it's just so wholesome. Being honest, seeing like how you guys started out and how you guys worked through and built something so cool. And honestly, he also does deserve a lot of credit because that stuff, I don't understand it that much. So what he does is awesome. So
Absolutely.
y'all be sure to you know be mindful of Mohit and the work he does. He does a great job with Exerprise. It would definitely not be what it is today without you, Mohit. So, and that goes for all of the Anabolic Aliens teams. So the people behind the scenes, they're also doing a great job. So, Mike, while we're talking about this, do you have any shout outs you'd like to give to while we're talking about this? So to people like Mohit and the other Mike on the Anabolic Aliens team and anyone else, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
I mean, I'll shout out my whole team. Like every person who helps me along the way help is very important, a part of the process. And there's no one I'd want to let go. There's no one I'd. We're literally a family. So I
I
mean,
like that answer,
yeah,
man.
alien family.
Alien family. I like that term. Alien family. We're not a community. We are a family.
Damn right.
Cool, man. All right. So two more questions and we're done. Mike's like, oh, thank God this guy's done talking and I can go to bed. All right, Mike. So what advice would you offer to new content creators? That just a general, any niche or any niche, whatever you say, any niche, any field. What advice would you give to them?
Quality is subjective. Do what you believe in. Be passionate about it. Push, push, push. Consistency. Upload as much as you can. Get the content out there. Get your visibility. Improve the quality as you go, and then keep working on increasing the quantity after you establish that consistency and that quality.
Good answer, man. I found it very helpful. I wish I had known that back when I started uploading to YouTube. And guys, I'll tell you what he's saying is absolutely true. And shameless self promotion here. I actually have on my YouTube channel a playlist dedicated to helping you get started with that because I'm all for you starting your content creation. If you're against what I have to say and you have a different opinion than mine, that's fine as long as you're respectful. And even if you like are on the opposite side of the political spectrum or something, that doesn't matter to me. As long as you're respectful and kind to me, that works fine for me. So if you want to get something started, reach out to me. I'll help you out. I have a video playlist on my channel showing you guys how I started my, stuff, how I produced the show, and take Mike's advice. He also has some great videos on his channel to check out. So look up to the channels like Mike Rosa, for example, and see what they did to become successful. So Mike, great advice. I love it. One more question, Mike. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the second to last question. I almost forgot one. I'm sorry. What is your current bench, squat, and deadlift record?
My bench is like 415, squat 545, and deadlift like 575.
Holy crap, that's higher than I remembered. All right, man. Well, when you say you're an alien, damn, you're an alien. Okay, so Mike, I have another question. Do you have the script pulled up in front of you? I just want to make sure that we're
I
on the.
do.
Okay, so you can see that I have attached a screenshot of a picture. It's asking who is Michael D. Rosa. I went to the second ever upload on your channel, and this guy has a name, Michael D. Rosa. I'm just wondering who's Michael D. Rosa.
I don't know.
You don't know? Is it a coincidence that he has the exact same name as you, except there is a D in front of the Rosa?
Well, if you're trying to say that's me, that's a no. He's insulting us.
Really?
That's not me.
Actually? What the hell? I thought that was you. I thought you were like making an account just to like, oh,
Nah, dude, read that. Nah, that's like an insult.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I just thought you were making that account just to like say, "Oh no, here's who we are. Here's what we're doing." Dang it! Like he made a freaking account just to go against you guys. I mean, he named himself Michael D. Rosa. Really, he went through all that work.
You don't think that could be his name?
Uh, who knows? Imagine you're like at a graduation for high school or college, and they call up Michael Rosa, and everyone was like clapping, and then it's like Michael D. Rosa, and I was like, "Boo! Get off the stage! Get off the stage! No one likes you." Okay, I always thought that was like your account. I'm just saying, man. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's about all that I really wanted to cover. Because I honestly have a couple more questions, but we can go on forever in theory. Like, hey, Mike, what's this? What's that? And I don't want to keep this going for too long. So I think that would just be all we would need to cover for the for our podcast. But before we do go, I almost forgot to mention. I'm sorry, I almost have to mention a question. What do you prefer? Do you prefer doing hits body cardio or jogging for endurance? Because I believe you mentioned that jogging for endurance, like long distance, can be bad for your, like muscles, and they can like at a certain point go against your gains. So what's your take on that?
Hit 100%. If muscularity is a main goal of yours, then hit is definitely the option. But actually lately I've been going on runs. So it depends on your current goals for sure.
Gotcha. And then of course that's hit's a great way to break up that caloric intake and whatnot. My Fitness Pal is just a great way to track that stuff. Mike, when it comes to eating homemade specific meals, is there like how do you do that? Because I eat like homemade specific meals. How do you exactly measure that? Because you can't just go up with a barcode scanner to your dinner plate, boop, and you scan it. Like there's all sorts of different things. So how would you recommend working with homemade meals and scanning that stuff?
You just got to take the time to do it. It's not hard, it's just tedious. You got to weigh out the food, you got to measure it, teaspoons, tablespoons, and actually just if you really want to do it right, then you got to just take the time to do it.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, Mike. I think, except for one more question, I think it's like a meme at this point. I'm always saying I got one more question. I'm like, oh wait, hold up, don't leave, Mike. I have one more question. One more question, Mike. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry, Mike. I don't mean to keep doing this to you, but have you ever gotten into a fight, and if so, how badly was the other guy beaten up?
Yeah, I've been to a couple fights. Um, yeah, I both fight. One kid I broke someone's jaw, and the other one, yeah, knocked him out.
Oh, damn. Well, nice job, Mike. And leads to say, I'm not surprised. Okay, Mike, that was the final question. And I mean that. That's the final question, Mike. Do you have anything that you would like to just get out of your system? You want to say it, like just a big bang to get out of here. Something you want to say to the audience.
Just that everyone who's listening, I want you to stop trying to be anyone else and just believe in who you are and be yourself because you're going to amaze yourself with what you can accomplish if you actually do that.
I like that. Short, sweet, and simple, and to the point. Well, Mike, that was an exceptional podcast. I'm sure it's going to be a great podcast that everyone will enjoy and derive lots of value from, regardless of their goals and where they are in life. Mike, you're a busy man, and I know you made time for my show and whatnot, and you even stayed up beyond the time window you had available. So I greatly appreciate your time, and I highly value that. And hey, man, if you ever need anything, just reach out. If you ever need like 10 years from now, if I'm a pilot, you need free airline tickets, dude. I got you, bro. I got you. I'll fly you out. Whatever you need, I'll help you out. If you ever need help with running your podcast, I'd be happy to help you out with like some questions regarding that. But like I said, need anything, just reach out. And speaking of reaching out, Mike, tell me where people can find you. Tell me where they can find your YouTube channel, your website, social media. How can people reach you?
Yeah, I mean, you can check out anabolic.com. That's my website. Join the invasion. Exerprise is my app, free app on the Apple Play Store. YouTube, Anabolic Aliens. Instagram, Anabolic Aliens. You can send me an email as well. We're always doing work and always trying to get to the next level. Someone's working for the team 24/7.
I got that. I got that. Well, folks, you heard it right there. And as always, I said that I'd link down his YouTube channel, website, and Exerprise, a free download in the app and Play Store. And yes, I've watched his videos so many times, it's ingrained into my head, and I can say it on command just like that. So, yeah, anyways, guys, uh, guys, it has been a true honor doing this for 3 years, and here's to many more years. And in case you can't tell, I don't make money, obviously, from doing this stuff, but I love it. And it's so awesome to be able to have this opportunity, and it's truly a blessing. I've met many amazing people in these 3 years of doing this. It's just been truly phenomenal. And I have actually made many amazing friends from today's podcast and whatnot. So I've made many friends, And it looks like today I just made another friend. So, Mike, it has been a true pleasure having you on the show, man. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I think it's honestly the highlight of my quarantine because the past few, weeks and months, I've just kind of been at home doing nothing. So it was really nice to have you on and just get to talk to you. Like, I know I sound like I'm kissing up to your ass and whatnot, but really, you are the only guy I looked up to for a certain time in my life, and you kind of still are. So just getting the chance to talk to you for like a power session for 2 freaking hours on my own podcast is out of this world, and it's just for real, man. I can't thank you enough. It's been a true honor. And if you went back 3 years, I would not believe you if you told me, "Hey, man, you're gonna interview Mike Rosa on your show." I would not believe you, man. But here we are. So, Mike, words can't express the gratitude I have for you, and of course, the rest of my wonderful followers in the Alien family, who's always there for us when we need them the most. So, thank you guys for being there for me. I greatly appreciate that. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, my email address is mgtowacademy.media@gmail.com. And my Twitter handle is all caps MGTOW followed by Academy. The first and Academy is capitalized. Mental health, of course, needs more attention, as I said before. So if you need someone to talk to, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll happily be your friend. I'll happily talk to you. And remember, if no one believes in you, I do. All right. And if the platform enables you to leave comments, let me know what you thought of the podcast and what you'd like to see me cover in the future. And please, if you're on a podcast platform, could you leave me a 5-star review? Because it kind of helps to grow the show. Thank you very much. I'm just asking kindly. And I think that's it for now. So, Mike, it's been, how long has it been? Right now it's 12:02, so it's beyond midnight, right?
Yeah.
Hot damn, man. Well, hey, Mike, it's been a true pleasure. I think that's going to be it for now. If you're down for an interview in the future, I'd be down for it. But until then, here's to our wonderful future for both Anabolic Aliens and MGTOW Academy and our beloved followers and listeners and whatnot. All right, Mike, are you ready to do the outro?
I am.
I cannot believe I'm about to end season 3 of my own podcast with Mike Rosa. Holy shit. All right, ready, Mike? All right, let's do it. As always, it's been a pleasure, but don't forget that while there is a world of opportunities out there, it can be dangerous. So remember to build that mind and body. Keep your head up, and I'll see you guys in the not too distant future. I'm MGTOW Academy.
And I'm Mike Rosa.
And we will talk again soon.
Peace.